So here on Talksport, third place Forest have lost 3 of the last 4 and have a clutch of teams hunting them down. But if they win tonight, they go 3 points behind the team they face at the City Ground this evening. Arsenal, who haven't lost back-to-back Premier League games for nearly 14 months. Third against second. This should be brilliant. Forest against Arsenal with your commentary team on Talksport. Former England striker Dean Ashton alongside Joe Shannon.
Thanks, Adrian. Good evening to you on what we hope will be a special night of Premier League football, live and only across the Talksport network. And could it be a defining night in the title race? Liverpool's lead is certainly a commanding one. They could potentially end tonight 14 points clear at the summit. Arsenal, of course, are their nearest challengers, but need something extraordinary to keep their hopes alive, while Nottingham Forest are the great surprise of this Premier League campaign. Third meets second tonight, and we've got everything else covered too, including at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Old Trafford, the G-Tech, and of course Liverpool against Newcastle to come. Every kick of this manic and vitally important midweek night. So let's have the games off and underway. And we will be underway very shortly here at the City Ground. Arsenal to the right-hand side, all in blue, and Nottingham Forest in the dark red and white to the left of the halfway line. Another capacity crowd here. The Forest flags flying high up into the air. And let's remind you of the two teams. For Forest, Sells is in goal. Aina, Milenkovic, Murillo and Williams at the back. Dominguez and Anderson holding. Elanga, Gibbs-White and Hudson-Odoi behind Wood up front. And for Arsenal, Raya is in goal. Timber, Saliba, Gabriel and Calafiori. Odegaard, Jorginho and Rice. Waneri, Trossard and Marino are the front three. Both teams into a huddle ahead of kick-off. This ground is about to erupt in a moment. Dean Ashton, special night to come, maybe.
I would expect so. They've seen it quite a few already this season, following their side's incredible run in the Premier League, and they're going to need them again tonight. This is a very, very good Arsenal team, but they won't fear them, Nottingham Forest, and they've got real weapons at the top end of the pitch also.
Now here on the banks of the Trent, Mull of Kintyre rings around the City Ground, a place of such great character and rich history, and our Nottingham Forest to derail Arsenal's title bid tonight. The game is off and underway. Nottingham Forest from left to right kick the game off, and Matt Sells goes long straight away, and a header clear by William Saliba for Arsenal. We don't know for sure that the title is heading to Anfield just yet, but the picture could become a lot clearer over the next 3 hours or so. Tonight really is one of those nights where the only place to be is with us on the Talksport network. And Elanga crossing for Nottingham Forest from the left-hand side. He's overhit that. Ola Aina, though, will keep it in on the near side of the field at the Bridgeford end where the Arsenal fans are. Twisting onto his right foot, playing it back to Gibbs-White. And Gibbs-White will roll the ball to the centre circle, and the big centre half, Nikola Milenkovic. Forest with this formidable home record, and Arsenal, of course, with the injuries that they've had and a lack of a recognised striker. It's again Marino taking on that central role, as Waneri pokes the ball down the middle, and Milenkovic there in front of Odegaard to intercept. A minute gone. Nottingham Forest 0, Arsenal 0 on Talksport as Gibbs-White darts down the middle. He's played it square to Wood. 18 goals in the Premier League so far this season. Further wide on the near side is Callum Hudson-Odoi. 5 yards from the corner of the penalty area. Back to Ola Aina. And now Anderson, midway inside Arsenal territory. Quickly wide to the near side, the right again. Hudson-Odoi takes up possession. Onto the right foot. Low ball into the near post. Cleared away first time. Right-footed by Gabriel. Rice collects possession for Arsenal. Plays it to his left and Trossard right in front of Mikel Arteta. Then a very tame pass by Trossard to give it away. Goalless in the early stages. Former England striker Dean Ashton. But Nottingham Forest's intent. Attacking intent. And of course they're right in it for the race for the Champions League. Their intent is clear from the off.
Oh, it's a big game for them. Of course it is. To keep that Champions League charge alive, and they've started exactly as you would expect, you know, using the crowd's energy, getting the ball forwards quickly into Chris Wood and Morgan Gibbs-White, and they want to test the mentality of these Arsenal players.
Well, let the games begin. Live across the Talksport network. Forest with Anderson up to the halfway line and Hudson-Odoi taking on Calafiori in a one-on-one and wrestled back by Calafiori. That's going to be a yellow card, surely. Just 2 minutes into the game, and Calafiori is going to walk the proverbial tightrope for the rest of the evening here at the City Ground. A raucous City Ground. Nottingham Forest 0, Arsenal 0, but the ease with which Hudson-Odoi scampered beyond Calafiori there, he knew that the professional foul was the only option.
It's a ridiculous option, is what he's taken, Calafiori, so early on in the game against a player with the pace and trickery of Callum Hudson-Odoi. Look, he's beaten you all ends up. Let him go. You've still got Gabriel and Saliba to back you up. He's only just in his own half. It's a ridiculous decision from Calafiori.
Arsenal starting the night, remember, 11 points off Liverpool in the race for the title. Liverpool against Newcastle at 8:15. First half on Talk, second half here on Talksport. And Nottingham Forest take the free kick with Elanga. Flicked all inside the penalty area towards Murillo, and that's a foul by Milenkovic inside the 18-yard box. And Arsenal have a free kick right on the edge of their own penalty area. Now the referee's got a flashpoint to deal with here, and Milenkovic has been yellow carded, I think, for delaying the restart, Dean.
Yeah, he just stood in front of, I think it was Gabriel, who tried to play the ball quickly. Just stuck his leg out, Milenkovic, and rightly so. Yellow carded for stopping the restart. Also, Arsenal's discipline has been questioned. Those 5 red cards in particular, and almost luckily for them, Milenkovic has evened things up with 2 defenders on yellow cards already.
Yes, more red cards in the Premier League for Arsenal since Mikel Arteta's appointment than any other side. And a first defeat in 16 in the Premier League against West Ham at the weekend. A bitter blow in the title race for them. Over the top by Saliba, down the right, the far side to Timber, right by the corner flag, and as he won the corner off Nico Williams, he has. Arsenal corner on the far side of the field at the Brian Clough end of the ground. Nottingham Forest 0, Arsenal 0 on a massive night of Premier League football, live here on Talksport and across the network as well.
And it's only Aston Villa that have scored more from set plays than these 2 sides. I wondered whether Marino would start in that role, and I think in both boxes from set plays he could really feature.
0-0 in all of the Premier League 7:30 kickoffs so far tonight. As soon as there's a goal that goes in, we'll let you know first and fastest here. Corner for Arsenal. Ødegaard will take it. He's rolled the ball short along the dead ball line to Jorginho with his back to goal. Teases it back to Ødegaard on the corner of the penalty area. Forest have got everybody back behind the ball. Arsenal still on the attack. Ødegaard to his right hand side. Jorginho floats in a very deep cross. Marino at the back post. Header away by Ola Aina. Not very far. Retrieved by Trossard down by the opposite corner flag, out of play. Forest throw. 0-0 here. Goal at Old Trafford. Talksport's John Dunn.
Manchester United 0, Ipswich 1. It's a horror goal. It's a ball over the top. Dogu, the left wing back, has tried to flick it back to Onana. Onana was too close to him. The ball rolls through and it's tapped over the line by Jadon Philogene. 4 minutes gone. Manchester United 0, Ipswich 1.
Goodness me, what an important goal that is for Ipswich in the race for survival. Closing the gap on Wolves to 2 points as it stands, and looking for their first league win away at Manchester United since 1984. As United's woes continue. If Ipswich were to win tonight, they would only be 10 points behind Manchester United, would you believe it? A long way still to go there, a long way still to go here, but the first of many twists and turns to come tonight in the Premier League, Dean.
Oh, I'm sure. And here, Arsenal yet to settle, really. Nothing from that set play. Ødegaard, a couple of touches, but maybe need to get Marino into the game if they can.
Calafiori infield from the left, 25 yards out, cuts it square to Ødegaard, half away by Anthony Elanga. The ball retrieved by Timber, right of centre, further wide is Ødegaard, just peeling off to that Arsenal inside right. All left foot Ødegaard as he tries to twist and turn away from Elanga. Nottingham Forest 0, Arsenal 0. Rice, right of centre again, back to the centre circle, and William Saliba. Arsenal surely know they must win tonight, as difficult as that will be. Nottingham Forest, despite some wobbles away from home of late, are still rock solid at the City Ground, unbeaten in their last 6 in the Premier League here. And Ødegaard can't wriggle down the inside right this time. Anderson turns to look at Ødegaard, a look of disgust on his face. The 2 number 8s going head to head. Ødegaard ended up on the turf. Anderson wasn't having any of it, and it's a goal kick to Nottingham Forest and Matt Sells.
I mean, they are an incredible side, Nottingham Forest. 19th for average possession, yet they're third in the Premier League. They will sit, they will defend properly with real energy when Arsenal try and probe, and then they'll look to counter-attack with incredible pace.
A long raking crossfield ball by Murillo is cleared away by Calafiori. A clumsy clearance, first time right-footed, and it's landed at the feet of the Forest head coach Nuno Espirito Santo, who's called upon the City ground to help his team through the game tonight, and already the home crowd have most certainly obliged. Another packed house on the banks of the River Trent, and it is goalless live on Talksport. The only goal that's gone in elsewhere in the Premier League in the 7:30 kickoffs is at Old Trafford. Manchester United 0, Ipswich 1, and that is live on the Talksport app tonight. As is Brentford against Everton, which is 0-0. Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0, live on Talksport 2. And of course Liverpool against Newcastle at 8:15. First half on Talk, and the second half here with us on Talksport. Once all the football's done, you can have your say on the sports bar tonight from 10:30. 03717 223344, and you will want to have your say. A lot could happen tonight. Arsenal with Rice 10 yards shy of the penalty area, plays it square to the left, and Calafiori. Good possession for Arsenal in these last few minutes. Rice will lock it backwards to Gabriel. We're 8.5 minutes into the game. Gabriel with a left-footed cross, headed away by Nico Williams before Marino, who just peeled off to the right, could get there. And now Elanga skips forward on the counter-attack, racing down that far side, the Forest left. He's run fully 40-50 yards as he takes on Jurrien Timber, but he was always looking like he was going to be crowded out there. Jorginho with the interception for Arsenal, who now have it with Ødegaard, but have nobody to play forward to, and Ødegaard has to go backwards to Declan Rice.
And it tends to be the way that Mikel Arteta's Arsenal play. They're pretty slow and methodical with their build-up. They don't tend to make fast breaks forwards. They like to build and get players into good positions before they look to play in towards the penalty area.
Rice with his back to goal, shuffles away from 3 in red, and he's worked his way into the penalty area. Shot turned away at the near post. It's come back to Calafiori from an angle who tried to steer it square with the pullback. It's a poor pullback, and Nottingham Forest will clear with Aina over the halfway line, and he's laid it square behind Dominguez initially, and Gibbs White is there to retrieve it for Nottingham Forest. Early ball towards Wood, brings it down into the area, shoots, blocked by Saliba. Very open game this, but still 0-0.
Yeah, lovely ball, wasn't it, from Morgan Gibbs White. He just saw Chris Wood just peel off the back of Saliba, clip that ball over the top. Lovely first touch from Chris Wood, stumbled slightly though with his balance before trying to strike, and Saliba got himself back well to block. But again, that's what they like to do. Within 2 or 3 passes, Nottingham Forest, they want to be on the edge of your area.
A tremendous noise all around the ground, and a great intensity and energy that the players are bringing to the game on the field, players of both sides. Nwaneri shuffling in field for Arsenal, getting the 1-2 from Ødegaard, and picking a lovely pass on the angle towards Trossard. Good covering by Hudson-Odoi, really good covering, right on the edge of his own 6-yard box. The awareness to spot the run of Trossard and to sweep it clear, and he gets some applause from the Forest fans and from his goalkeeper as well. 0-0.
The kid's 17, it's ridiculous. A no-look pass in behind the Nottingham Forest defence. If Trossard had pace, he would have just been onto that and scored. Callum Hudson-Odoi, though, he has got pace and he got back well.
Nwaneri is a very special talent. Saw him effortlessly whipping the balls into the corner of the net in the warm-up, and here he is on the corner of the 18-yard box onto the left foot. Shot is charged down, comes down to Jorginho. Arsenal playing with purpose now as they seek the game's opening goal. Live on Talksport, and then a looping cross by Timber is a poor one, overhit and behind to ironic cheers. Forest 0, Arsenal 0 on Talksport with Sky Sports. Don't forget you can stream the biggest Premier League games, available with no contract on now. Search Now Sports. What have you made of the opening 11.5 minutes, Dean Ashton?
Yeah, I think both sides have shown what they're about. Arsenal's build-up has been calm and composed, and actually, if you're going to play Mikel Merino, I would want to see crosses early into the penalty area for him. Both of the goals against Leicester that he scored came from crosses, and they'll look to do that again. And then Nottingham Forest, as we've expected all season, defending well, looking to counter-attack and be dangerous.
You might remember the meeting between these two here 2 seasons ago, where Forest won 1-0 in the penultimate game of that campaign. They ended Arsenal's title hopes as it was mathematically that day, and confirmed their Premier League status. It's a measure of Nottingham Forest's progression under Nuno Espirito Santo that they are really you would argue, favourites to finish third at the moment, and especially if they win tonight. A clearance upfield by Gabriel for Arsenal. Loose ball gathered by Dominguez in the middle of his own half for Nottingham Forest, who have comfortable possession back. And all credit to Nuno Espirito Santo for the job that he has done and continues to do.
Yeah, there's little blocks of energy, isn't there, in this game? Both teams just having a controlled bit of possession, and then all of a sudden the whole game just lights up.
Forest go long, high up the inside right channel towards Wood. It's over his head, but through to David Raya. Let's get news of a goal in the Premier League at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Alfie Reynolds.
12.5 minutes played. Tottenham 0, Manchester City 1. Back into the team and back amongst the goals for Erling Haaland, his 20th in the Premier League this season. The ball was worked to him by Jeremy Doku on the left, and Haaland provided the close-range finish. Commentary of this match available on Talksport 2. Spurs 0, Manchester City 1.
That's a goal that takes Manchester City up to fourth and a point behind Nottingham Forest as it stands in the Premier League table. A long way to go tonight, but Arsenal, if they were to draw, would be at least 10 points behind Liverpool, who kick off at 8:15 against Newcastle United. Newcastle without Alexander Isak tonight. Commentary begins on Talk at 8:15, and we'll have the second half here on Talk Sport. Long ball downfield by Murillo for Nottingham Forest. Again, it sweeps over the head of Wood, and Gabriel there to shepherd it back to Raya, who takes a touch under pressure. In the end, very calm to thread the forward ball to the left-back position, and Calafiori and Mikel Arteta, who's standing about 20-30 yards ahead of us in front of the commentary position, just gestures to Arsenal to calm the play down. They go from left to right into the Forest half now, and Ødegaard further wide on that far side is Waneri. He's about 10 yards from being level with the edge of the penalty area. Back to Ødegaard again. Ødegaard suddenly accelerates down the middle, tries a 1-2 with Marino, who tried to hold it up, surrounded by red shirts. They goon it away though, Forest. And on the left-hand side is Trossard, left corner of the penalty area. He dinks it across, headed away by Murillo from the edge of the 6-yard area. 0-0 it remains, but Arsenal with good possession again. Jorginho now, high ball into the penalty area, headed away by Williams this time, and it's Forest who are under pressure. Ødegaard tearing down the inside right, setting up Jurriën Timber, who tried to get the shot away, seemed to miss his kick. I don't know if there was a challenge there by Elanga, or Timber kicked the ground, and now Forest counter, 2 against 2, gives White to Wood, 25 yards out, in his stride, he tries to bring it down, and sliding it is Gabriel with an excellent challenge. It rebounds off the shins of Wood, and out of play for a goal kick to Arsenal. 0-0.
Terrific pace shown by Morgan Gibbs-White to get away, and finds a good pass into Chris Wood. One strength he doesn't have, and neither did I, is that raw pace to get away from defenders. Gabriel just stepped across, sliding challenge to take out Chris Wood.
Harsh on yourself, Dean.
But very, very true.
Former England striker Dean Ashton, played in the Premier League, of course. Here is Declan Rice, left edge of the penalty area for Arsenal. Urged to shoot, deflected over the top, right-footed. It was a thumping effort, and it cannoned off the back of Dominguez and flew over the crossbar. But no pressure on Rice there. He had about 3 yards of space to rifle that goalwards, and over the top it goes, and Arsenal look the more likely to score at the moment.
Oh, it's a good opportunity. It really did open up for Declan Rice to strike towards goal. I think he'd be disappointed that he hits the Nottingham Forest defender's back. Really, he needs to make sure this misses everybody with the direction of the shot. In the end, he just gets his head down and lashes through the back of it. It skims up and over.
It's one of these favoured Arsenal set plays, so prolific from corners in the Premier League this season. Gabriel standing right on the heels of the goalkeeper Sells, all in bright yellow. Ødegaard will take it, it'll be left-footed and in swinging in towards a very crowded 6-yard box. Good header away by Murillo, thumping header clear. So dominant in the air, and there was a foul anyway on Milenkovic, who went down. And Nottingham Forest will get a free kick. We'll have a Forest legend on Talksport tomorrow from 10. White and Jordan joined by Martin O'Neill, all reacting to this evening's football and looking ahead to West Ham against Leicester tomorrow night, which is our 300th live commentary of the season. And then we've got all 6 games from the FA Cup 5th round this weekend, plus for the draw for the quarter-finals on Sunday, where our exclusive commentary will be Manchester United against Fulham. Manchester United 0, Ipswich 1. the latest score in the Premier League tonight. Tottenham 0, Manchester City 1. Goalless at the G-Tech between Brentford against Everton, and 0-0 here between Nottingham Forest and Arsenal, with Liverpool against Newcastle to come. 17 gone.
It's yet to really take off this game, has it? Sells and Raya yet to get any mud on their gloves whatsoever.
But it's lively, isn't it?
There's been the intent there, absolutely, from both sides. Just yet to be opened up either defence.
Odegaard showing plenty of intent as he races towards the right corner of the penalty area. Waneri goes on the outside of Williams. Waneri crosses right-footed, and it's right across the edge of the 6-yard box. Nobody can get the vital touch in a blue Arsenal shirt. Now the ball is with Trossard. 5 yards from the dead ball line. He's taking on Ola Aina. Twists one way and then on to his left. Aina gets a tackle in as we welcome listeners from Talk. And Arsenal win another corner, this time on the near side of the field. Arsenal have had most of the possession and territory so far as they look to chase down Liverpool in the race for the Premier League title. But it's still Nottingham Forest 0, Arsenal 0, and here's Dean Ashton.
Yeah, and it's been the 17-year-old Waneri and also Trossard out wide that have been the danger men. A couple of times now they've beaten their defender and put a decent ball into the box, and just asking Declan Rice and Odegaard, why aren't you in there supporting Marino?
Flurry of Arsenal players at the far post, and I think they're all going to run into the 6-yard box when Rice whips in the corner, in swinging and right-footed. Poor delivery, headed away at the near post by Nico Williams, and then flicked further clear by Elliot Anderson. It's dropped down to Waneri on the edge of the box, wide right to Timber. Timber tries to flick it square into the path of Waneri. He needed a deft touch, it wasn't a good one. And Nottingham Forest clear up to the halfway line. It's been a fascinating first nearly 19 minutes. Nottingham Forest 0, Arsenal 0. Timber, right corner of the penalty area, looks for Waneri, good close control, flicks it up high towards Rice, inside the box, went up with the challenge of Williams all around him, and Rice couldn't get any sort of telling touch. Now Trossard goes down on the dead ball line, and that's a free kick to Arsenal. Forest are pinned back at the moment, and they cannot get out of their own half.
Yeah, he's been bright, hasn't he? Leandro Trossard on this left-hand side. Nice and lively with his movement. His touch has been good. But again, another chance for Arsenal to cross a few moments ago, and there's only one Arsenal attacker in the area. You know, Milenkovic and Murillo, two of the best this season. You fancy their chances against one, you need to get 2s and 3s in there when that cross is coming in.
It's a slightly better position than a corner, isn't it, Dean? It's about 6 yards infield from the corner flag, right on that goal line. And Rice is standing over it for Arsenal. We're playing with a great determination. They look very much up for the fight tonight, Arsenal, like they've got a point to prove. As Rice whips the ball into the back post, and it's headed away by Wood. It'll drop down on the edge of the penalty area. Trossard beaten in the air this time by Callum Hudson-Odoi. Forest resolute defensively, but for how much longer? Trossard with the dink. Left to right, crossfield. Good header away this time on that far side of the left by Aina, who, the right back, finding himself in the left back position. Arsenal coming forward again. Arsenal out on the far side of the field, and the home crowd just having to find their collective voice again, with Nottingham Forest really defending their edge at the 18-yard box at the moment, live on Talksport. Trossard with an in-swinging ball, headed away by Milenkovic, drops down to Declan Rice, he can't get it under control. You feel that the Forest centre-halves will enjoy the aerial bombardment that they've had so far tonight. You fancy them to win most things in the air, and now Mikel Arteta's hopping up and down in his technical area with fury as Nottingham Forest win a free kick right on the halfway line, and the Forest fans, about 20 rows of seats in front of us from the commentary position to the edge of the pitch. I can see that Arteta is furious with the officials, and the Forest fans are loving that.
Of course. I mean, it's been such a big strength of Nottingham Forest, their defence this season as a team. You know, when they sit in, the amount of red shirts in there that you've got to get through, they make it really difficult for the opposition. And that's why you have to commit attacking players forwards.
Good flick by Gibbs White, the number 10, out to the right-hand side, and Hudson-Odoi, who's got the beating of Calafiori, surges into the area. Was he tripped by Calafiori? There was certainly no contact with the ball. No penalty, says the referee. Goal kick has been given. VAR will surely check it. Calafiori, mindful of the fact that he's on a yellow card all the way in that exchange. Then Hudson-Odoi got goal side. Calafiori chasing him. And no penalty given. That's a massive moment in the game so far, 0-0.
Well, first of all, it's brilliant attacking play from Hudson-Odoi. He knows that Calafiori can't touch him, and he just cuts right across him in the penalty area. But I think Andy Madley gets this absolutely spot on. Yes, Calafiori's right there behind him, but there's not enough contact. And actually, I think it's Hudson-Odoi that's looking, and he's expecting the contact, and Calafiori just pulls away at the last moment.
Nottingham Forest 0, Arsenal 0. First moment of controversy in the game, and we've got these big monitors in the commentary position so we can have a look at it again. And I think you're absolutely right, Dean. Yes, no contact with the ball from Calafiori, but barely any, if any at all, contact with the heel of Callum Hudson-Odoi.
Well, I think also as an attacker, when you make that decision to cut across the defender, you're doing it to almost create the contact and expecting the contact with the defender. And Calafiori just pulled away. Hudson-Odoi lost his balance, expecting that touch that never came.
Here come Arsenal with Calafiori upfield now. Inside left channel, turns away from Dominguez and curls the shot off the post. Right-footed Calafiori, who is capable of scoring spectacular goals. And it bounces off the post, seemed to be heading for the bottom corner and into the gloves of a very grateful Matt Sells. That's the closest either team have come so far.
Oh, it's terrific play from Calafiori. Just a little step across and back and twisted away, and then just curled it beyond Milenkovic and Sells right onto the inside of the post, and it then just comes right back to the goalkeeper's arms. He's so unlucky.
The two sides of Ricardo Calafiori I think we've seen so far tonight. Free kick to Nottingham Forest just forward of the centre circle. A goal at Old Trafford in the Premier League. John Dunn.
22 gone. Manchester United 1, Ipswich 1. An equaliser for Manchester United, but it's an own goal by Sam Morsey, the Ipswich captain. Free kick on the left, about 12 yards out. It's whipped in towards the near post, and it's Morsey who was challenging Hoyland. It's Morsey who steered it into his own goal. Manchester United 1, Ipswich 1.
Murillo floats the free kick towards the left corner of the penalty area for Forest, headed back across towards Wood by Milenkovic. Wood trying to turn with his back to goal, crowded out by Arsenal blue shirts. Cleared away only as far as Dominguez with a low shot, took a deflection, and that took all the power off it, and it's an easy gather. You wouldn't even call it a save for David Ryan. We're in the 25th minute, live on Talksport, and it's Nottingham Forest 0, Arsenal 0. So Manchester United 1, Ipswich 1, as you just heard from John. Tottenham 0, Manchester City 1, a latest score. Brentford 0, Everton 0 in the Premier League, and you're up to date. Liverpool against Newcastle from 8:15. At the moment, Arsenal 10 points behind Liverpool in the race for the title, and they would have played the same number of games. Of course, Liverpool will have played one more by the end of tonight. And Arsenal, you feel, really need to win.
Well, Calafiori's taken up an interesting position, obviously starting at left back. He's almost in midfield and near Mikel Merino. He's got the ball now.
Back to Declan Rice, as you say. Calafiori infield in a central midfield sort of position. Back to Declan Rice, who's midway inside the Nottingham Forest half now, to the feet of Saliba. Arsenal have kept Chris Wood very quiet so far. 8 goals in his last 8 appearances for Wood, but it's Arsenal on the attack again with Trossard. Arsenal have been the better team. Calafiori, left of the team, nudges the ball back to Jorginho. Now Rice in a tight area, sea of red shirts in front of him. Finds Trossard on the edge of the box. Left-footed shot deflects high up into the air, headed away by Murillo. Up towards Wood, trying to hold it up midway inside his own half, goes back to Murillo, and that'll be a free kick to Nottingham Forest for the foul on Chris Wood. And the Forest fans upset with the referee because they feel again that the restart was delayed. This time I think they were looking at Saliba having done that. The referee not remotely interested. And Forest have possession again with Murillo midway inside his own half. Quick ball over the halfway line now to Elliot Anderson. Infield to Williams. 10 yards into Arsenal territory. Forest, who were beaten 4-3 in a thriller at St James's Park at the weekend. And of course, Arsenal tasted a very rare home defeat in the Premier League against West Ham. Sells clatters the ball long, headed away. Thumping header by Saliba, and then Merino coming back a long way from an offside position. And that's a free kick.
We've had everything but the goal, haven't we, really, this game? Both sides have They've shown what they're about. In Calafiori's position at the moment, that's the interesting tactical tweet.
Whatever happens tonight, you'll be able to have your say from 10:30 on Talksport on the Sports Bar. 03717 223344 to speak to Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy tonight. Remember, every Premier League game this midweek live and only with us on the Talksport network. Hudson-Odoi down the Forest right, checks his run, goes back to the halfway line. We can get news of another goal at Old Trafford, John Dunn.
26 minutes gone, Manchester United 2, Ipswich 1. They've come from behind. It all stemmed from a corner. Maguire's header down, pushed away by Palmer. Darlow's shot pushed away by Palmer. Matthias de Ligt has scored from a few yards out, and Manchester United lead. Manchester United 2, Ipswich 1.
Live on the Talksport app right now. Elliot Anderson, corner of the penalty area for Nottingham Forest. Can't spot the run of Hudson-Odoi with a reverse ball overhit, where the Forest fans applaud the intent. It's a goal kick to Arsenal. Yes, if you download our app, you can swipe between all of our stations at your leisure. Tonight is just the night to download our app. It's free and easy to download. It'll be particularly useful if you want to keep in touch with what's happening at Anfield. Underway in about 15 minutes. Liverpool against Newcastle, live on Talk in the first half. And then you can swipe back here to Talk Sport for full second half commentary. And of course, keep yourself in touch with all of the other games that are going on tonight. Just the one tomorrow in the Premier League for us, West Ham against Leicester, and that is here on Talk Sports. Halfway line for Arsenal is Gabriel, as this game edges towards the half-hour mark. A fascinating, absorbing watch. Just been lacking, really, in goals. Here is Gabriel again in the left wing position, the centre half. Infield to Jorginho, and now Calafiori inside the area for Marino's square pass. Milenkovic so calm and cool, elegant to nudge it away from him. Not much elegant about the pass forward by Anderson. Evades Wood, and it's dropped at the feet of Mikel Arteta, would you believe it, who's keen for Arsenal to take the throw quickly.
Well, again, it's Calafiori who's the most advanced Arsenal attacker, getting himself involved. Lovely footwork, but actually Milenkovic spotted that, came across. Good positioning from the big defender.
This is quite a dominant performance from Arsenal so far. They have done a lot right against a team who have a very impressive home record and have had simply a fantastic season. Nottingham Forest looking to qualify for Europe for the first time since the mid-90s. It could be a very special year for them. Arsenal will have to do something special if they're to wrestle the title away from Liverpool, it looks like. Trossard just forward of the centre circle, little pirouette away from Dominguez, plays it square to Jorginho, right edge of the centre circle. Jorginho now at walking pace, and Nottingham Forest, as they have been doing effectively, very compact shape out of possession. Everybody's behind the ball, and there's no way through this time for Ødegaard with a little poke down the inside right touchline. Nobody's there to meet it, and it's a goal kick to Nottingham Forest. And still, Matt Sells, David Raya, neither have had a save to make, and we've had half an hour.
I mean, look, it's no easy task. As good as Nottingham Forest's forwards have been this season, you know, this is the best defence they're up against. And Arsenal give you very, very little in so many of their games that they play. And so far, actually, they've managed that threat that Nottingham Forest have on the break very, very well.
Those are the thoughts of Dean Ashton with us tonight for commentary. Arsenal have it with Waneri inside the centre circle, has to go back to Timber under pressure, turning away from Anderson, just about squeezing the ball infield. Timber just shy of the halfway line, and he's chipped it out to the left-hand side. Arsenal on the attack now with Trossard, marauding infield and then slowing down. He's reached the midway point of the Forest half. Quick ball down the middle again to Calafiori in a central striking area, really. Quickly shrugged aside by Milenkovic, and now Forest can break. Elanga hurtled over the halfway line initially and then slows the play down again, and Forest go back to halfway. Let's bring you the latest from the G-Tech in the Premier League with Ian Abraham.
31 gone, Brentford 0, Everton 0. Best two chances to Brentford, a header by Ayer just wide, and before that Vista from close range straight at Pickford. It's on the app, this game. It's Brentford 0, Everton 0.
Thanks, Ian. Yes, indeed, another of our Talksport app commentaries tonight. What a great record David Moyes has had since returning to Everton. 14 points out of a possible 21 since coming back to the club in the Premier League. Rice over the halfway line for Arsenal. Couldn't quite get enough sufficient weight on the pass to find Martin Ødegaard, and now Murillo has it back for Nottingham Forest. An old-fashioned centre-half. He's even got the old-fashioned looking boots on, Dean, hasn't he, the number 5. Wood trying to hold up possession for Forest. Midway inside the Arsenal half, and his touch is very heavy. He's given it straight to Gabriel, whose pass is a little overhit towards the left-hand side. Slightly untidy from Gabriel. Used to more calm and poise from him. It'll be a Nottingham Forest throw in front of the Arsenal dugout, and it's still goalless.
I mean, so far, any ball has gone up to Chris Wood. Gabriel and Saliba have been overly aggressive, and rightly so. Because once that ball's played into Wood, that's then when you see the pace and the movement beyond him. And they try and open up the space with Wood coming short. But they've been really aggressive, won the headers, and stopped it from gaining any momentum.
Ødegaard has the ball on the halfway line for Arsenal. Marino's knocked it back to Declan Rice, and now out on the near side is Trossard, taking on Aina, back in field to Rice again. We'll go to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium for all the very latest very shortly. That's live on Talksport 2 right now. Spurs against Manchester City, who at the moment are edging into the top 4 in the Premier League. Arsenal have it with Gabriel, just to the left of the centre circle, back to Saliba. And again, Nottingham Forest have got everybody in red and white, very diligently back behind the ball. There's a tenacity about Nottingham Forest defensively tonight, and they've had to be. Arsenal on the attack again with Waneri. Infield now to Rice, 5 yards from the edge of the D. Square ball to Calafiori. Quickly left to Trossard. Left corner of the penalty area. Back to Gabriel. Arsenal having to play a very patient game here. Gabriel wriggles away from Anderson, and then Marino was caught by Anderson. That'll be a free kick to Arsenal. Let's bring you the latest from North London at Spurs. Here's Alfie Reynolds.
Tottenham 0, Manchester City 1. The visitors lead thanks to Erling Haaland's goal. That came after 12 minutes, and both Savinho and Haaland should have doubled that lead. Doku, the provider for both. Savinho was off balance but unchallenged in the box. He hit the ball into the ground and it went over, and for Haaland, he had a close range shot that was saved by Vicario. Backs against the wall stuff for Spurs at the moment. Tottenham 0, Manchester City 1.
Commentary continues on Talksport 2. This free kick for Arsenal, live here on Talksport, is, I think, too much of an angle towards this near side, the left Dean, for Arsenal to go for goal from here, and I think that's reflected in the fact that Ødegaard is standing over.
Yeah, and I think even from where we're sat, I think that's further away than it maybe seems from our view in the penalty area. So, you know, with those players that they've got that are an aerial threat, why not just feed this in and let them attack it?
Free kick to Arsenal, which Ødegaard will take. 25 yards out, left of centre. Here he goes, whipping the ball into the box over the head of Marino, but there was a foul by Jorginho in the penalty area on Nico Williams. Nottingham Forest get a free kick. Arsenal 10 points behind Liverpool in the race for the Premier League title as it stands. Let's get news of a goal in the EFL Trophy semi-final at Wrexham. Which way? Cameron Pope.
And it's gone to the home team. Wrexham 1, Peterborough 0, 35 minutes gone. It came out of absolutely nothing. The first chance the hosts have had, one long ball down the park from Max Cleworth. Mofar linking onto it, chipping over the goalkeeper. Peterborough will be kicking themselves. They've been the better side. 35 gone, Wrexham 1, Peterborough 0.
Thanks, Cameron. And that for the right to play Birmingham City in the final at Wembley. So Brentford 0, Everton 0. Manchester United 2, Ipswich 1. Manchester United have turned it around from a goal down early on at Old Trafford. Tottenham 0, Manchester City 1. And Arsenal 0, Nottingham Forest 0 here. Liverpool against Newcastle underway in 10 minutes time. The first half will be live over on Talk. Best way to be across that and all of the action tonight is to download our app. Ball is out on the left for Nottingham Forest with Williams. Low with the edge of the penalty area in front of that stand on the far side, the Brian Clough stand. It'll be a throw for Arsenal, just shy of halfway, which Timber's going to take. Arsenal playing from right to left in the first half towards the Trent end. Mikel Arteta stands alone in his technical area, all in dark clothing, a black jacket on. As a couple of his assistants have words with the fourth official. Arsenal have possession with Saliba. Quick ball towards the halfway line. He can't find Jorginho. Anderson with the half interception for Nottingham Forest, but he can't control the ball, and Forest have had very little in terms of attacking threat in the first 36 minutes, Dean.
Yeah, because Arsenal have defended so well, but they're just not a big enough threat at the moment, Arsenal. Between both boxes, they've been absolutely brilliant in this game. They've really controlled so many aspects of it, yet they're not really threatening Sells' goal. Obviously Calafiori hitting the inside of the post, but none of their forward players yet getting into a position to try and finish.
It's easy to say it, but Arsenal sorely lacking an attacking threat through the middle once again. Hudson-Odoi down the right, crosses for Nottingham Forest, and it's thundered away on the volley by Saliba. Then the ball spins off the head of Dominguez, away from goal, out to the right. Ole Einar controls, and then the sliding challenge by Marino. It's a foul. He thought long and hard about that, the referee, and Mikel Arteta is fuming again. I thought initially that it was a robust challenge, that Marino got the ball, but then the reaction of the Forest fans, I'm not saying it swayed the referee, Dean, but he did seem to have another look at it, and in the end gives Forest a free kick.
Very hard to judge as both feet come together. Ole Einar just hesitating a fraction, but it's just whether he gets his foot there first and Marino then kicks through his foot to the ball or not. And ultimately the referee's made a decision. Marino looking just to poke it, I think, through the legs of Ole Einar. But if you make any contact whatsoever in coming through the legs, then the referee's going to give the free kick. But you're right, Arteta not happy at all, which he hasn't been all game.
Dundee United 1, Hibs 1 in the Scottish Premiership. Motherwell 1, Dundee 0, a latest score. Murillo pumps the free kick, crossfield, right to left, corner of the penalty area. Milenkovic flicks it on towards Wood. Saliba only half away, helped out by Timber, who'll thump it clear on the half volley. Up to the midway point of his own half. Murillo with a forward ball, 10 yards to Gibbs-White, turns away from Marino into the box. He tries a deflected cross, and that's spun off the boot of Marino and gathered by the Arsenal goalkeeper, all in black, David Raya. Arsenal on the counter with Declan Rice up to the halfway line. He's been held up, and there's nobody through the middle for Arsenal to aim at. Then Trossard goes down. He's fouled. 0-0 in the Premier League here. Another goal to tell you about in the semi-final of the EFL Trophy at the Racecourse Ground. Cameron Pope.
And it's Wrexham 2, Peterborough 0. 2 goals in 5 minutes for the home side. Jacob Mendy fizzing across along the 6-yard line, and George Dobson with his first goal for the club slamming in at the back post, and now Peterborough have it all to do. Still 6 minutes left of the first half. It's Wrexham 2, Peterborough 0.
So it'll be Wrexham against Birmingham in the final of the EFL Trophy at Wembley. That'll be a blockbusting game, as Arsenal have possession on the halfway line now with Saliba. Nottingham Forest 0, Arsenal 0. For the latest odds, head to Ladbrokes. Right now you can get Forest at 19-5 to win. Arsenal evens, the draw at 13-8. That's all thanks to Ladbrokes. 18+B, gambleaware.org. 5.5 minutes of the first half remaining here live on Talksport. Nottingham Forest 0, Arsenal 0 on this big night of Premier League football. Arsenal hoping to try and close the gap on Liverpool in the title race. Liverpool underway against Newcastle at Anfield very shortly, live over on Talk. Arsenal have it through Rice, but again, no one to aim at right down the middle for Arsenal.
No, they're finding it difficult because of that defensive structure that Nottingham Forest have. But defensively, when you consider Nottingham Forest are at home, Arsenal have given them absolutely nothing. Barely even a crumb of an opportunity for Nottingham Forest. Now Arsenal now have to take the control of the game and turn it into dominance in creating chances. And sometimes that means you have to gamble with players running into positions that they're maybe not used to.
It's a Forest side that have scored plenty of late. They've scored in 11 of their last 12 Premier League games. Arsenal have reduced them to little or no threat so far. Arsenal have hit the post through Calafiori. Now they have it with Waneri. 10 yards from the edge of the box. To his left is Gabriel. Ball down the middle, and the pass was ignored by Dominguez and then hammered away upfield by Milenkovic for Nottingham Forest. Gabriel calmly brings the ball down. Midway inside the Forest half. Out to the left, and Marino touches it wide left to Trossard on the near side of the field. Trossard down towards the dead ball line, thinks about a cross, cuts the ball back to the edge of the penalty area. Jorginho, little tap square to Calafiori. Good football from Arsenal. Great turn, Waneri into the box. The angle is tight. Waneri tried to shoot, and Murillo came across right at the last moment. That silky dummy from the 17-year-old very nearly ended with him having a shot at goal.
Oh, the first part is just outstanding from Waneri. He just lets the ball run across his body, go as if he's going to take a touch, let it run under his foot. He twists, he's away, and then he just takes a heavy touch. When really it just needed to be dabbed, and then he could have taken the strike. He takes a heavy touch and it just gets away from him. And Milenkovic steps across. But once again, that first initial bit of play was lovely.
Well, Arsenal in an ideal world tonight, of course, if they were to win and Liverpool were to be beaten at Anfield by Newcastle, then the gap would be 8 points and Arsenal would have a game in hand as well. Of course, they'll have a game in hand at the end of the night, whatever happens in these two matches. But they can only control what they can control, as you often hear managers say. Declan Rice will take Arsenal's third corner. Nottingham Forest 0, Arsenal 0. 3 minutes of the first half remaining. This corner at the Trent end away to our left. Whipped in by Rice. High to the back post. Unchallenged Marino. Nods it down. Hits Saliba. Bounce towards goal. Cleared away. It'll drop down to Marino again. Inside the penalty area. The angle is very tight. Arsenal want a penalty now for what they feel is a foul on Timber. One or two looks at the referee, nothing given. Here come Arsenal again. Martin Ødegaard racing down the middle. Then he switches the play out wide right to Marino. Timber limps to his feet. Ironic cheers from the home supporters. Now Waneri, 25 yards out. Infield to Rice. Square again to Calafiori. Attack the defence in this first half, at least for large parts of it. Arsenal all in blue, on the attack for so much of it. Now Trossard infield from the left. Held up by Aina and tried to knock it forward to Waneri, who was standing on the edge of the D. Dominguez poked it clear. No way through for Gibbs White on the counter. Arsenal go back to David Raya and they can build again. Here's Dean Ashton.
Yeah, they've really struggled, Nottingham Forest. They've just kind of lashed it away into the channels, and Saliba and Gabriel have been brilliant in covering the ground and acting quickly when the ball's got near them, just to get Arsenal back on the front foot.
Kilmarnock 1, Rangers 0. As Rangers' miserable league season gets worse and worse. 16 points adrift of Celtic. Anderson for Nottingham Forest. He is midway into the Arsenal half, and now it's Arsenal's turn to get everybody back behind the ball. The first goal, so crucial, you feel, for both sides on a night like tonight. We've got 90 seconds of normal time remaining at the end of the first half. Rice is beaten to it. Slide tackle by Dominguez. Murillo half gives it away. Then Gibbs White put a sliding challenge in, but Arsenal have it back again. Clever chip over to the halfway line by Trossard to find Waneri, who pokes it onto Ødegaard. 0-0 it remains here. Ødegaard lifted the centre circle, finding Trossard again. Back it goes to Declan Rice. Looks as though Arsenal will be 10 points adrift of Liverpool as they're about to get underway. At home to Newcastle. Arsenal have it with Saliba, squared infield to Jorginho, 30 yards out. Waneri takes a possession, trying to turn away from Williams. Out to the right-hand side again. Arsenal still on the attack. Waneri to the far side of the field. Now Saliba playing almost as a winger, taking on Anthony Elanga, heading for that dead ball line. Elanga stands up to the challenge, then goes down, no foul given. Waneri into the box, onto the left foot, shuffles it square to Rice, gets it caught under his feet. Wood back to get it away for Nottingham Forest, and now Hudson-Odoi's held up play, and he'll go back to Milenkovic. Let's get news of a red card at Old Trafford, John Dunn.
2 minutes before half-time, Manchester United 2, Ipswich 1, but it's Patrick Dorgu and Manchester United who has been sent off. It was a long VAR check. The referee must have looked at double figures in terms of replays, but it was studs high. It was into the shin of Hutchinson as he went for the ball. Referee didn't give the card, but after VAR, he has. Manchester United 2, Ipswich 1. Manchester United have 10 men.
Thank you, John. Commentary continues on the Talksport app. A minute of added time at the end of the first half here, live on Talksport. Arsenal 0, Nottingham Forest 0, Brentford 0, Everton 0 in the Premier League, live on the app tonight. And Tottenham 0, Manchester City 1. That's on Talksport 2. They're just about getting underway at Anfield. Live on Talk right now. If you want full commentary of Liverpool against Newcastle, then for the second half, they'll come here to Talk Sports. Nottingham Forest 0, Arsenal 0. With Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has 450 branches with all the vehicles your business needs. Arsenal on halfway. There's many in the home sections. Here in the main stand, head for the concourse areas. Main stand with a couple of pillars in the way. Gabriel for Arsenal. It screams old school, this ground, and in a good way in many ways. It's got such a vibrant atmosphere. Arsenal have largely quietened the crowd tonight to their credit, but they haven't managed to find the opening goal. Waneri back to Jorginho, dink over the top, into the penalty area, through to Sells, and that will be half-time. And ultimately, for all of Arsenal's possession and territory, the closest they've come in the first half is through Ricardo Calafiori, who has scored a spectacular goal or two, even since joining the club. Both of his Arsenal goals have come away from home, and it was a gorgeous turn inside the box to set up a right-footed curling effort from the angle. It beat Sells, but didn't beat the post, and bounced out to the grateful Nottingham Forest goalkeeper. Forest, of course, very much embroiled in the race for Champions League football next season, but they have not threatened at all, at least not to any great extent. Callum Hudson-Odoi looks a threat against Calafiori, who has been booked, and indeed the two were involved in a tangle inside the penalty area at one stage. Hudson-Odoi went down, nothing was given, and replay suggested that was the right decision. It is intriguingly poised, but Arsenal at the moment poised to drop more points in the Premier League title race. Nottingham Forest 0, Arsenal 0.
It's Adrian Durham live at Anfield, and they have just kicked off. As Joe was saying, it is Liverpool 0, Newcastle 0. Newcastle, of course, without Alexander Isak. But let's reflect on that first half of third against second. Forest 0, Arsenal 0. And we talked, Dean Ashton, about clash of styles beforehand. How have both sides handled each other's clash of style?
I mean, I personally feel that Arsenal have been the better side by quite a distance. I mean, defensively they've been outstanding. They've given Nottingham Forest nothing, which, you know, is such a good credit to them, because they're such a threat on the break. And they've just, I mean, Saliba and Gabriel, outstanding, the pair of them, to deal with anything that's been played forward quickly. But it's almost as if, you know, there's just been a barrier put up in the penalty area for us. I've watched Marino really carefully at times, and he drifts away from the centre forward position because it's not his position, and he wants to get involved, and he forgets that he's not playing as a midfielder. And then there's nobody in the box at all. So when Trossard looks up as if he's going to cross it, he comes back. Same with Nwaneri, looks and plays, and he's had the edge. You know, it's incredible to think Nwaneri at 17, I think, has been more of a threat, a goal threat, than Martin Odegaard. With his ability, him and Rice have to work harder to get into the penalty area.
More from Dean in a moment, but another goal at Old Trafford. John Dunn.
We're into injury time. It's Manchester United 2, Ipswich 2. I think Liam Delap will try and claim this one. Right corner of the penalty area. Jadon Philogene curled one in goalwards. Delap stretching. I don't think he got a touch, but he's trying to claim it. The celebrating Ipswich fans really won't mind. Manchester United 2, Ipswich 2.
Wow, all square there. Remember, Ipswich took an early lead. United went in front, but 2-2. There's a goal of Brentford as well, Ian Abrahams.
Brentford 1, Everton 0 on the cusp of half-time. Johan Visser's got the goal. Long throw from Schade. Ball headed against the bar. Visser wanted it more than the Everton defence and headed in from inches out. It's Brentford 1, Everton 0. Commentary on the app.
Penalty shout here for Liverpool, but not given by Stuart Atwell. Remains Liverpool 0, Newcastle 0. Tell you what, let's get half times. Let's go to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Alfie Reynolds.
Tottenham 0, Man City 1, but it could be a lot more for Pep Guardiola's side. Erling Haaland gave them the lead 12 minutes in with a close range finish. Both Haaland and Savinho could have, and probably should have, doubled that lead. Savinho shot into the ground and over when he had the goal begging, and Haaland shot straight at Vicario. Tottenham, without Son and Kulusevski, who are both on the bench tonight, lacking any sort of threat in attack. A set-piece opportunity looks like their best way of getting back into this. The half-time score, Tottenham 0, Man City 1.
We've got half-time in the Virtue Trophy semi-final. Winner goes to Wembley. It looks like it's only going one way, Cameron Pope.
It is at the moment. Wrexham 2, Peterborough 0, the half-time score. 2 goals in quick succession, the difference. Farrell and Dobson, the scorers for Wrexham, after a lacklustre start for the hosts. The first a deft little lob, and the second fired in from close quarters. Peterborough were the better side for the first half an hour. Emmanuel Fernandez should have done better with a free header at the back post. Oscar Verleen also went close, but if Posh are to be the first team to retain the trophy, they'll have to find 2 goals from somewhere against a side who've already beaten them twice this season. The winner plays Birmingham at Wembley in April. At the moment, it's going to be the Welsh side. Wrexham 2, Peterborough 0.
That's half-time, and the half-time whistle's just gone at the G-Tech as well. Let's go back there, Talksport, Ian Abrahams.
Brentford 1, Everton 0. Johan Visser with a goal right on half-time. Schade's long throw, and Buomo against the bar with a header, and Visser from inches out managed to put the ball in the back of the net. But Everton manager David Moyes will be absolutely seething at half-time that his side aren't in front. Beto has wasted not 1, but 2 golden one-on-one opportunities. First of all, he was sent clear, appeared to be fouled actually by Pinnock, who would have gone with a red red card for denying a goal-scoring opportunity. Had Beto not been so honest and got back up again, went in on goal, and it was denied by Flecken. And then 2 minutes later, Alcaraz little header forward. Again, Beto clear of the defence, only Flecken to beat. The keeper again managed to foil the Everton striker, and then to add insult to injury, that goal by Visser right on half-time. It's Brentford 1, Everton 0.
And it's half-time at Old Trafford as well. What a first half, John Dunn.
Oh, brilliant. Manchester United 2, Ipswich 2. 4 goals, one of them comical. A sending off, all in driving rain. 4 minutes in, Ipswich led, and it was an absolute gift. Ball played down the Manchester United left. Patrick Dorgo in full control, edge of the area, and as he looks up, Andre Onana's coming running towards him. By that point, Dorgo had already taken the touch, and the ball was rolling to the empty net, in which Jadon Philogene tapped the ball home. Manchester United recovered 22 minutes in. Bruno Fernandes with a free kick on the left, headed into his own goal by Sam Morsey. 4 minutes later, they were in front. Matthias de Ligt striking from close range after twice Alex Palmer had made saves. That was from an initial Bruno Fernandes corner. Sending off was Patrick Dorgu. He went in high on Amari Hutchinson on the touchline. It took a long VAR check, but it was a right decision. It was a dangerous challenge. Manchester United down to 10 men, and in injury time, Jadon Philogene with his second of the night, a curling ball in from the right corner of the penalty area. Liam Delap doing enough to put Andre Onana off. The ball dropping into the corner of the net. A stunning half. It's Manchester United 2, Ipswich 2.
So those Premier League half-time scores then: Brentford 1, Everton 0, live on the Talksport app. Manchester United 2, Ipswich 2, live on the Talksport app, and United down to 10 men. Forest 0, Arsenal 0, live on Talksport, and live on Talksport 2, it's Spurs 0, Man City 1. Live on Talk right now, it's Liverpool 0, Newcastle 0. We are just 8 minutes or so into the game, and the remainder of this, most of the second half, will be live on Talksport when the Forest-Arsenal game is done.
Kick off on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Supercharge your odds with our Odds Boost button. Selected markets applies to first £50 of stake. Terms apply. 18+. Gambleaware.org.
The season is shaping up, and whether they're going for glory or going down, it's all to play for. Get the ultimate football coverage with the Sun's free pull-out Goals. With the best writers pitchside for in-depth match reports, it's all about goals. And with unrivaled news from the Premier League to League Two, it has to be goals. Stay up to date on all the latest football action. Get your free copy of Goals every Saturday, Sunday and Monday, only in the Sun.
The new £5 meal deal from McDonald's. Get a cheeseburger or mayo chicken, medium fries, 4 McNuggets and a medium soft drink for guess what? That's right, £5. It's not called the £5 meal deal for nothing. From 11 a.m. Not available on delivery. Carbonated soft drink upgrade fees apply. Participating restaurants subject to availability.
We all fantasize about our perfect home. Sipping a morning coffee out on the terrace. Good morning, Mr. Squirrel.
Morning.
The kids building a treehouse in the garden.
I'm living my perfect childhood.
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of April 2024 and 30th of June 2024 was under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
At Betfair, we believe that to play different, you need the right tools. The boots, the world-class tactics, the science-backed nutrition. The pros have their tools, and with Betfair, so do you. Our safer gambling tools work just like the right pair of boots, designed to keep you on top of your game. Open the Betfair app to equip yourself so you can bet at your best. Betfair. Play different.
18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Want a day off deciding what to eat? Sit back, relax, and let us do the thinking for you. And the cooking, and the cleaning. From salmon fillet Mondays to fish and chips Fridays. IKEA family members can try a different £3 dish of the day every weekday in store. IKEA, the wonderful everyday. T's and C's and exclusions apply. Find out more at ikea.co.uk.
At Screwfix, we've locked the prices on everyday van essentials. Like WD-40 at £6.98, a 100-pack of Easy Fix wall plugs at 94p, and a 200-pack of Gold Screw multi-purpose screws at £2.69. We've got your back with prices you can rely on the products you use the most. In stock and ready to go, saving you the hassle of shopping around. Order on the app and collect in-store today. Prices valid until at least 6th of April. Visit screwfix.com for T's and C's. Delivery charges and restrictions apply.
You don't just check in to a village hotel. You work out. You jump in. You play on. You tuck in and drink up. Village Hotels. 33 locations with everything under one roof. A huge gym with pool and great membership opportunities. And a buzzing pub and grill with delicious food, ice-cold beers and live sport. Check out villagehotels.com and work out, stay, meet and play.
Kick off on Talksport with Sky Sports. Stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on now. 18 plus, stream via internet, terms apply.
Feel the power and the glory.
What a goal!
No one does football quite like this. It's goal time. Game night on Talksport.
Where the deadlock has just been broken here at Anfield. Alongside me, Matt Jones.
Yes, it's Liverpool 1, Newcastle 0 with 11 minutes on the clock. Liverpool finding the back of the net through Dominic Szoboszlai. He scored against Manchester City at the weekend, and he does just the same tonight. Luis Diaz venturing down the left for Liverpool, allowed to travel a little bit too far from the Newcastle defence's point of view. He eventually pulls the ball back to Szoboszlai near the penalty spot, and he tucks the shot into the bottom corner. Pope dives down to his left, but he dives late because it goes through the legs of one of the defenders, and by diving late he cannot get down to it and keep it out. So Liverpool, well, at the moment they're extending their lead at the top of the table, because it is Liverpool 1, Newcastle 0.
Bringing in the goals as they go in. It's half-time in the game here on Talksport. Forest 0, Arsenal 0. Let's get the half-time odds with Ladbrokes.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Get money back as a free bet up to £10 if one leg of your Football 5+ acca lets you down. Pre-match straight line accas only. Odds of 3-1 or greater. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
So it's Forest 0, Arsenal 0. Forest are 19-5 to win. Arsenal 5-4. The draw is 13-10. On Talksport 2, Spurs 0, Man City 1. Spurs 17-2 to win. City are 3-1 on. The draw 18-5. On the Talksport app, it's Man United 2, Ipswich 2. United 27-10 to win. Ipswich are 29-20. And the draw is also 29-20. That's the latest odds with Ladbrokes. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Supercharge your odds with our Odds Boost button. Selected markets applies to first £50 of stake. Terms apply. 18 plus. GambleAware.org.
Let's check in with what's happening, what's been happening at Wembley in the Nations League for the Lionesses. Charlotte Richardson.
England 0, Spain 0. Nothing to separate the European and world champions. Early exchanges dominated by Spain, who rattled the crossbar and tested the Lionesses with some fluid attacking moves. Lauren James out for England. Wow, she has been buzzing around the pitch, trying to make things happen, and has been exceptional. Spain can't find a way to contain her, and she has been England's best threat. Forced 2 saves and given Wembley and her teammates a lift and some confidence as we approach the half-hour mark. England 0, Spain 0.
Keep you updated with that on Talksport as Liverpool win the ball in midfield again. And so far, Matt Jones, Liverpool have been dominant, and they've got the goal to prove that as well.
They have, and they maybe could have had a little bit more, because there was, as you mentioned it, that huge penalty shout for Mo Salah very early in the game. He got around the back of Lewis Hall. Hall went to ground. It looked rather... the contact didn't look like there was anything there from Salah, and then in his follow-through, Salah fell over Hall, the referee giving the free kick to Newcastle. But all the problems generally from a Liverpool point of view are being caused down this left-hand side. Diaz is causing Livramento no end of problems. He's got the pace to go around the outside him. He's got past him 3 or 4 times already, and he was, Diaz, the man who provided the assist for Szoboszlai with the goal. But there's been another couple of occasions when he's been trying to get the ball into the box, and it just hasn't worked out, but he's beaten Livramento in doing so. So I think that might be a little bit of a problem for Newcastle and Eddie Howe over the remainder of this game.
It may well be. Liverpool 1, Newcastle 0. Trippier's on the bench if Eddie Howe wants to make that change, possibly at right back. We'll see. It might be a bit too early to do it. And as for the penalty shout, I thought it was a penalty. I thought Hall slipped, fouled Salah. Somehow Stuart Atwell saw a foul from Salah but couldn't see it. Nothing given there other than a foul to Newcastle, and Liverpool lead by a goal to 0. Szoboszlai with the opener. Forest 0, Arsenal 0. And Dean Ashton, what do Arsenal have to do? What do Forest have to do if any one of them is going to win the game?
Well, I think Forest need to be braver. I think they've not really committed as many men forward as I've seen them in many other games here at the City Ground. I think they're being very cautious. I think they're paying a lot of respect, actually, to Arsenal. I mean, it's so clear for Arsenal what needs to happen in my eyes. The build-up's been terrific. You get to the edge of the box, and people are not willing to run without the ball. And I'm talking about running into the penalty area with purpose, with good movement, interchanging with Merino, who's in there, causing an issue for when that ball does come into the area. It's too easy to stand outside of the area wanting the ball to feed than it is to properly commit yourself into the area and be quite unselfish with that run, because it might give Merino the space.
Here at Anfield, Newcastle just went through. Ball one-on-one went wide, but it was offside anyway. Second half coming up then on Talksport. Forest 0, Arsenal 0. Here's your commentary team, Dean Ashton and Joe Shannon.
And there is a half-time change for Arsenal. And left back, Tierney for Calafiori. And I wonder whether, Dean Ashton, that has a lot all to do with Calafiori being on a yellow card.
I would expect it to be an injury, personally, because he was arguably their best attacking player, Calafiori.
So Tierney on, and just his 7th appearance of the season as Arsenal get the game back underway. Live on Talksport, playing from left to right towards the Bridgeford end in the second half. Arsenal all in blue, and Nottingham Forest in red and white, playing from right to left towards the Trent end. Forest with a throw midway inside Arsenal territory. Timber holding his lower back, and he stayed off the pitch. The referee's going to wait for Timber to limp back up to his feet. Lots of Forest fans returning to their seats as there's a slight delay to the taking of this throw. And Nico Williams will take it for Nottingham Forest. He can go up the line, he does. Header away by Timber from the Arsenal right back position. Williams with a flick towards Chris Wood. Arsenal, as it stands, falling 13 points behind Liverpool in the race for the Premier League title. That could, of course, change over the course of the second half. Ball out of play in the Arsenal left-back area. 0-0 here, but there has been a goal at Wembley. Charlotte Richardson.
England 1, Spain 0. Jess Park taps home as Spain failed to defend their lines. All the hard work done by Alessia Russo, charging towards goal. Her shot deflected, rebound converted. England 1, Spain 0.
So the Lionesses are into the lead on a busy night of football, not just in the Premier League. And of course, the best way in terms of staying across all of it is to download the Talksport app. It's free, and you can swipe between all of our stations and our app commentaries tonight at your leisure. Nottingham Forest in possession out on the right-hand side. They didn't have a meaningful effort on goal in the first half. The best chance for either team, Calafiori hitting the post for Arsenal. In fact, actually, thinking back across the whole of the first half, neither goalkeeper was tested, Dean Ashton. That's got to change, surely.
Yeah, it has. It has. And it's about, at times, it is about bravery. It's about knowing that you might leave some gaps for the opposition, but in being brave, you can try and overload the opposition. And the Forest forwards in particular have got to be more of a threat. They have been all season. There should be no reason why they can't tonight.
So 2 minutes into the second half, Nottingham Forest 0, Arsenal 0. Forest unchanged for the second period. Sells in goal, Aina, Milenkovic, Murillo and Williams. Dominguez and Anderson, Elanga, Gibbs, White and Hudson-Odoi behind Wood. And for Arsenal, Raya is the goalkeeper, Timber the right back on the ball now, Saliba, Gabriel and Tierney on at half-time for Calafiori, with Jorginho, Rice and Erdegaard in the middle, and Waneri and Trossard in support of Merino, who nominally is the central striker. The ball backwards from Rice to the lip of the centre circle. Jorginho will chip the ball down the left-hand channel. It's headed infield by Tierney. Clever header towards Trossard, who tried to smuggle it square into the path of Merino, who was a little slow to react. Elliot Anderson thunders the ball high into the dark night sky, and of course the floodlights on here at the City Ground. Header away by Milenkovic this time. Rice will bring the ball down for Arsenal, midway into opposition territory. Arsenal have been the better side, but they haven't managed to find that killer touch in front of goal, and that largely is why it's still 0-0. Both head coaches watching on from the touchline. Arteta and Nuno, both with arms folded. Waneri accelerates down the right-hand side for Arsenal. Right edge of the penalty area. Dead ball line, deflected cross. That spins behind for a corner to Arsenal.
Yeah, it's nice work, isn't it, from Waneri on the right-hand side. Little left foot step over, driving towards the byline and then just deflected off Williams for a corner. They've struggled in recent games, Arsenal, from set plays to actually be the threat they were earlier in the season. Teams are starting to wise up to these tactics of starting right at the back post and drifting in towards the goalkeeper.
Odegaard will take it, left-footed and in swinging, plenty at the back post for Arsenal, now moving into the 6-yard area. Corner hoisted towards that far side of the field. It's cleared away initially. It'll drop down to Trossard in the area. Lovely feet, but then he gets nothing behind the right-footed shot on the turn, and that's steered upfield by Nottingham Forest's Gibbs White. Arsenal recycled possession. Early ball by Marino. Timbers in the box, putting it back from the dead ball line, and they want handball, the Arsenal fans behind the goal. After the deflection on the cross, Timbers steered it with the pullback towards the edge of the penalty area. The referee just says corner again, no handball by Chris Wood.
No, he just kept his arm close to his body, but also he needed it to skim along the ground in a natural position, as you would do as you slide on the floor. Your elbow just comes out to steady yourself.
Kilmarnock 2, Rangers 1. Goal back for Rangers tonight. And back underway in the rest of the earlier kickoffs in the Premier League. I'll remind you of the latest scores in just a moment. Nottingham Forest 0, Arsenal 0. Arsenal 13 points behind Liverpool in the race for the title as it stands. Rice delivers high, right-footed to the back post. Marino's header turned away. Good stop by Sells. Both arms up into the air. It was a reaction save to deflect the ball clear. That's Arsenal's first effort on target. And now Trossard delivers from the left-hand side. An in-swinging ball. Murillo there with a towering header. But it's Nottingham Forest on the back foot early in the second half, 0-0.
I mean, it's a really good save, but it's a great chance for Marino. He's totally free at the back post. Just heads it against the goalie.
Odegaard dinks the ball into the penalty area over the head of Kieran Tierney, and Aina happy to let it trickle behind. And that'll be a goal kick to Nottingham Forest, who, as an attacking force, haven't really got going in the game at all. And Mikel Merino, who came off the bench and played in that striking role, scored twice against Leicester. Less prolific at the weekend, of course, in the defeat to West Ham United, but he is good in the air. He timed his run well, he was free. And Sells, who has an excellent record of clean sheets this season, the most of any Premier League goalkeeper with 10, was there to turn it away. So 0-0 at the City Ground. 6 minutes into the second half, live on Talksport. Another goal at Old Trafford. Which way, John Dunn?
Manchester United 3, Ipswich 2. Just 2 minutes gone in the second half, and it's Harry Maguire, a powerful header 6 yards out from a Bruno Fernandes corner on the right. Manchester United 3, Ipswich 2.
So the 10 men are in front, and commentary continues on the Talksport app tonight. Brentford 1, Everton 0, also live on the app. Tottenham 0, Manchester City 1 on Talksport 2, and Liverpool lead Newcastle by a goal to nil in the first half. That's live on Talk, and they'll move over here to Talksport for second half commentary from Anfield. You won't miss anything. You never miss anything in the Premier League with the Talksport network. And once we're done tonight from 10:30, the Sports Bar's going to take your calls. Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy with you. 03717 22344 will bring you all the post-match reaction as well. As Murillo shanks the clearance upfield, Arsenal throw, right back position. A good purpose about Arsenal tonight. They've been the better team, but they just can't find that all-important opening goal.
No, they have been much better than they were against West Ham. And Nottingham Forest have been poor. They've been really sloppy in possession. They haven't been able to build any momentum at all and just keep giving the ball back to Arsenal. But that was a chance, a big chance for Marino with the header. Hit Sells right on the forehead in the end from close range. He's just got to angle that away from the goalkeeper.
The Nottingham Forest fans trying to up the volume. Arsenal now with Odegaard, midway inside opposition territory. Square ball to Rice, out to the left, and Tierney. That's a good cross right along the edge of the 6-yard box, and a flying, diving header at the back post to turn it behind from Nico Williams. Arsenal really piling on the pressure.
What a waste of a terrific ball from Tierney, right in behind the Nottingham Forest defence. Nobody there. Would have been a simple header if they were.
Arsenal trying desperately to close the gap on Liverpool. 13 points behind them in the race for the title as it stands, though of course Arsenal will have a game in hand at the end of the night, whatever happens. Martin Odegaard will take the corner. near side the right, in front of the Forest fans. Hammers it high to the back post. Good header up into the air by Anderson for Forest. It drops down on the edge of the Nottingham Forest area, cleared away by Hudson-Odoi. Forest fan in front of us jumps up in frustration because there's nobody there on the halfway line. Forest had everybody back, and it'll keep coming back at them. Arsenal from left to right, dominant on the ball. Trossard, infield from the left, steers the ball square to Waneri, 5 yards from the edge of the penalty area, onto the left foot, scampers away from Dominguez, plays it square behind Jorginho, and Arsenal will have to restart the attack effectively and rediscover that pace and guile in the final third. Have they got the refinement to break Arsenal down, to break Forest down? Timber twisting and turning Williams, and then fizzing the cross into the near post. This time it hits Murillo. It's Arsenal's 7th corner, Dean Ashton.
Terrific positioning though from Murillo. He was with Marino but just stepped into that role in line with the near post on the 6-yard line just to block the cross from Timber. But again, it was only Marino in the box. Not enough Arsenal players gambling into the penalty area to hopefully the ball falling to them.
Ødegaard again to deliver for Arsenal. Everybody on their feet at the Bridgeford end. Ødegaard one up, one arm up into the air, and again they crowd the 6-yard box. Arsenal into the near post and headed wide. Marino was there again. Gabriel throws an arm up in appeal. It's gone behind for a goal kick to Nottingham Forest, but a narrow escape for the home team. 0-0.
Oh, such a terrific ball. I mean, there's so many bodies in there that all it needs is just a little glancing flick from one of them. Tierney was in there. I think Marino turned his back. It might have hit Marino actually on his back and go wide. I don't know why he's turned his back, but it's another chance for Arsenal.
And they threaten again from one of those set pieces situations where they have been so prolific. It was actually Tierney who got his head to it. Replays have confirmed he hasn't scored for Arsenal for a very long time. November of 2022. It would be a collector's item as Dominguez gets to his feet for Nottingham Forest, who have Hennessy on the bench, Morato, Sangaré, Awonyi, Alex Moreno, Jota Silva, Yates, Sosa and Danilo, the Forest subs, and the rest of the bench for Arsenal. Neto, the goalkeeper, White recently back from injury, Partey, Kivior, Zinchenko, Sterling, Butler, Oyedeji and Kabia. Nottingham Forest 0, Arsenal 0. On Talksport with Sky Sports. Don't forget you can stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on now. Search Now Sports. Arsenal win it back half the pitch. Overhit pass by Jorginho. Hands to his head as it trickles out of play almost apologetically for a Nottingham Forest throw in their left back position. The Premier League table looks like this. Liverpool top, 67 points from 28 as it stands. Liverpool lead Newcastle 1-0 live on Talk right now. Arsenal 13 points behind, 54 from 27 as it stands, and Forest in third, 48 from 27, a point ahead of Manchester City. This is a vital night for Nottingham Forest in their bid to finish in the top 4, and that now is their realistic aim as they win a free kick 10 yards shy of the halfway line. And I guess maybe the lingering fear for the Arsenal fans, Dean, might be they've missed a couple of good opportunities now. Are Forest, with Chris Wood so prolific of late and with a great home record, going to make them pay?
I mean, they've not looked like they're going to. They've barely created anything, Nottingham Forest. Arsenal have defended so well. But at the moment, Arsenal, yes, they've had a couple of moments. It's not been enough. Need to create more. There's not a lot on the bench either to turn to. So the players out there are going to have to do it themselves.
Kieran Tierney with a square ball infield to Jorginho as Arsenal look to build an attack from the midway point of their own half again. Timber back to David Raya. We'll have more live Premier League football for you tomorrow night. West Ham against Leicester is our commentary, and then all 6 games from the FA Cup 5th round coming up this weekend on the network. Crossfield ball by Tierney again, left to right. Elegant through the air to find Waneri, who took it down beautifully onto the left foot. Edge of the area, deflected shot, loops off Anthony Elanga and goes behind for another Arsenal corner. That's number 8. And how long can Nottingham Forest defend with this level of concentration and diligence?
I mean, they've done it all season. It's been a big part of their success. But the momentum's building, isn't it, with Arsenal? It's too easy for them to get to the edge of the area. Waneri, what's so impressive about him as well at his age is he gets something pretty much out of every attack that he makes. You know, he makes the defender work. 2 corners he's just won in the last 2 attacks that he's had personally.
It's a corner to Arsenal. in front of the travelling fans on the far side of the field as we look at it. Plenty forward inside the penalty area for Declan Rice to try and aim at here. Right-footed and in-swinging into the 6-yard box. Punched away by Sells. Drops down to Jorginho. Sells was on the floor for a moment there. Sheer weight of bodies between him and the goal. Red shirts helped out Nottingham Forest, and Mikel Arteta wants play to continue quickly here. The ball out of play for an Arsenal throw in front of the manager. After Elanga went down, the Forest fans wanted a free kick. They don't get it. Nottingham Forest 0, Arsenal 0 as we head towards the hour mark.
I mean, I felt that was a foul. I thought Elanga got there first and Odegaard body checked him. The referee didn't agree.
Well, it's been a dramatic night so far in the Premier League, and the best of it may yet to come. The ball is on the halfway line for Arsenal. Listen to the noise of the Nottingham Forest fans. So much intrigue and so much jeopardy in the game at 0-0. High ball by Marino into the area. It takes a bounce. Out comes Sells, and he gets there first ahead of Declan Rice. Thought about thundering up it upfield, Sells, and he did. Terrible clearance. Nuno Espirito Santo turns away in disgust. Half-time at Wembley in the Women's Nations League. Here's Charlotte Richardson.
England 1, Spain 0, a slender advantage earned when Alessia Russo beautifully turned her marker, spinning towards goal. Her strike deflected and Jess Park reacted quickest to tap home. Hannah Hampton and the crossbar have played their part down the other end. England 1, Spain 0.
Nottingham Forest readying at least one change, and maybe a double substitution shortly. The dugout is in line with our commentary position, and changes afoot for Nottingham Forest. On the halfway line for Arsenal is Saliba. Ball forward to Rice, has to go back to Gabriel. Let's bring you the latest from Anfield in the Premier League. Matt Jones.
32 minutes gone here, still Liverpool 1, Newcastle 0, but Newcastle should be level. A delightful ball over the top by Gordon caught the Liverpool defence off guard. Wilson ran onto it, but the rustiness of a striker starting his first Premier League game of the season, he put it wide when he had to hit the target. Liverpool 1, Newcastle 0.
That is live on Talk right now, and then we'll switch for second half commentary from Anfield here on Talksport. Liverpool, as it stands, have a 13-point lead over Arsenal, who are still goalless here at the City Ground, with Danilo and Yates waiting to come on for Nottingham Forest, who are having to clear the ball from a very deep position. There's a foul on Aina, and they don't realise it, Trossard and Aina. Eventually Trossard turns, and it is a free kick to Nottingham Forest. Latest from the Premier League at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Talksport's Alfie Reynolds.
Tottenham 0, Manchester City 1, but a brilliant chance in the second half for Tottenham to equalise. Wilson, Odobert at the back post on the stretch, just couldn't direct it goalwards, but the best chance of the game for Spurs. 61 gone, Tottenham 0, Man City 1.
There's a thriller at Old Trafford so far tonight for John Dunn.
57 minutes gone, Manchester United 3, Ipswich 2. Manchester United down to 10 men, but restoring their lead into the second half just 2 minutes in. Since then, Ipswich trying to take advantage of that extra man, but only a couple of deflected efforts from Liam Delap has seen them get any near to getting another equaliser. Manchester United 3, Ipswich 2.
And that is live on the Talksport app as Forest make their double change. Elanga and Dominguez leaving the field, and the man who came through the youth setup, the club captain, Ryan Yates, is onto the pitch. He's never scored a Premier League goal at the City Ground. Yates for Elanga. So there's an even greater sense of sturdiness and discipline about Nottingham Forest now. They might well reorganise a bit here. And Danilo for Dominguez is the other change. Danilo a long time ago, once linked with a move to Arsenal. Nottingham Forest 0, Arsenal 0. And so we've played more than an hour. What do you make of the double change, Dean?
Well, I think they want a freshness in midfield, and actually, I mean, they've just been whacking it forwards when they've got the ball. They need to play into midfield. Danilo and Yates need to try and get on the ball, and Anderson can play wide, so Anderson's come over to the left-hand side, and Hudson-Odoi over on the right.
And now on the right-hand side for Nottingham Forest, as the cross is floated in by Anderson, it's cleared away easily by Arsenal from the corner of their penalty area. Wood has not had even a half chance in the game so far, Forest's main man, but maybe that double substitution will really jolt them into action. And Forest have been clinging on at times, even in this second half, clinging on to third spot in the Premier League. If they were to concede, Manchester City would go above them on goal difference, leading at Tottenham, as you heard from Alfie, as Morgan Gibbs White crosses over the head of Wood, tucked behind by Tierney. Corner to Forest at the Trent end, and that gets the City Ground going.
Yeah, it was a good delivery from Gibbs White out on the left-hand side. Just got his head up, saw the darting run from Chris Wood, who was trying to get just in front of Gabriel, just over the top of his head. And Hudson-Odoi hadn't anticipated the cross and was nowhere near it at the back post. Tierney puts it behind.
Come on, you Reds, is the chant from the Trent End. Nottingham Forest pushing for Europe, hoping to derail Arsenal's title bid in the process. Liverpool would love a Forest goal here. In by Anderson, headed up into the air and away from danger by Declan Rice. It drops the edge of the penalty area, flicked on by Williams into the box. Good towering header away by Gabriel. Now Hudson-Odoi with a very heavy touch. The former Chelsea man with a back heel to keep the ball in play. Almost ended up going over the advertising hoarding there, Hudson-Odoi, as Nottingham Forest go back to the halfway line and in the end, all the way back to their goalkeeper.
I mean, he did incredibly well to keep it in. But it's just given them a boost, those substitutions. How long can they sustain it?
Mikel Merino flicks the ball upfield for Arsenal. Good touch square by Ødegaard to find Nwaneri. Charging into the Nottingham Forest half. He leaves Danilo in his wake. Skips infield away from Murillo's challenge. And then Ødegaard sandwiched in between two red shirts and was obviously fouled. Not even sure who made the final contact with the foul there, whether it was Yates or Anderson or Murillo, but it's a free kick.
Have a guess.
It was the latter.
It was Ryan Yates, of course it was. That's what he's in the team for. Hustle, bustle. He's got more quality than we maybe give him credit for, but that's what he brings. Energy off the ball, constantly making it really horrible for the opposition.
He's put the armband on, has Yates, the captain's armband. Arsenal just play the free kick short, long way from goal. Rice out to the right-hand side, Ødegaard in a crossing position, teases it back to William Saliba. Gabriel forward at the back post, among those in the penalty area in Arsenal blue. Ødegaard. Arsenal play from left to right towards the away end, desperate for a goal at the Bridgeford end, but Arsenal, thanks to Forest's discipline, out of possession, forced back to halfway. Gabriel's still forward and Jorginho picks him out with a diagonal pass. Gabriel's cushion header backwards 10 yards to the feet of Tierney. It's had a zip about it, an intensity about it, but it's certainly not been a very open game, 0-0.
And it has from Arsenal's perspective, but they're not going anywhere. It's all in front of Nottingham Forest.
And on the right is Nwaneri. 21 minutes into the second half, shuffles away from Anderson. Nwaneri with a high, deep left-footed cross, reverse ball, nodded down by Tierney, and Aina there with the interception for Nottingham Forest. He quickly finds Hudson-Odoi. There's an Arsenal man down in the penalty area. It's Merino who rolls around almost in agony, it looked like, holding on to his right leg, and he's lost his boot, has Merino, who was maybe shoved in the back as the ball went long into the area, and he's still lying on the turf, and the last thing Arsenal want is yet another injury.
Well, I mean, his orange boot went flying off his foot, Merino. I think he was trodden on by Milenkovic right on his Achilles. Should be painful, and that shove in the back also. Don't need another injury, do they, Arsenal? But he's fine.
Merino back on his feet. 0-0 here, and let's bring you the latest from the G-Tech in the Premier League. Talksport, Ian Abraham.
64 gone, Brentford 1, Everton 0. Johan Visser's goal right on half-time, but Everton have had two good second-half chances. Harrison's corner nearly sneaked in, and Alcaraz seconds ago from the edge of the D curl, one just wide. Brentford 1, Everton 0, live commentary on the app.
As Arsenal clear the ball high up to the halfway line, and Saliba sticks out a leg, another looping ball up to the halfway line, and Nottingham Forest there to win it back. There's been a slight rebalancing maybe since that double change. Maybe Forest are playing slightly further up the field. Liverpool still lead Newcastle by 1-0 in the Premier League, live over on Talk tonight in the first half, with the second half here on Talk Sport. Liverpool enjoying a 13-point lead as it stands at the summit of the Premier League. Of course, if Arsenal were to win, or to get themselves in front, then they would close that gap to 11 points and they'd have a game in hand. Long ball downfield by Saliba, right up the middle. Retreating is Milenkovic, heads it away. Cushion header square by Ødegaard to Trossard. Left edge of the penalty area, faced up by Aina. Great diligence from Nottingham Forest again. Everybody back behind the ball, including Hudson-Odoi, who's now wrestled to the ground. And Mikel Arteta turns away midway through the second half. It remains goalless. I think Zinchenko might be being readied, but this is turning into a frustrating night for Arteta, D.
It is, yeah. I mean, Zinchenko can play midfield. He may well looked to put him in the middle of the park. Just looked over a couple of times to the Arsenal away supporters, and you can see a few arms being thrown in the air. They're getting frustrated that Arsenal haven't been able to create more as time ticks away.
Well, you're absolutely right, Dean, to reference Zinchenko's capability in the middle. We're hearing that he'll replace Jorginho as Sells belts the ball long for Nottingham Forest. It drops to Gibbs White on the edge of the area, through to Wood, denied by Raya. Wood's first sight of goal, and Raya equal to it. Hudson-Odoi, right corner of the penalty area, forced to go backwards to Aina. Stays 0-0, a measure of the threat of Nottingham Forest, as Gibbs White delivers high and looping, and it's landed on the roof of the net. Arsenal living dangerously, 0-0.
Yeah, better moment, wasn't it, for Nottingham Forest? A lovely Cruyff turn from Gibbs White and just fed it into the path of Chris Wood. I tell you who did brilliantly there was Gabriel. He knew he couldn't get the ball, but he made it so difficult for Wood with his physical presence, and just a little shove just as Wood is about to take the strike. It really does put you off as a forward when you want to stabilise yourself, and you get that shove from the defender just as you pull the leg back, and it meant he just couldn't get the direction or the power and hit it straight at Raya.
So Zinchenko for Jorginho is the change. Still no goals here. After the latest odds, you can head to Ladbrokes right now. Nottingham Forest 6-1 to win, Arsenal 6-4. The draw 20-17 on. That's all thanks to Ladbrokes 18+, begambleaware.org. Ticking towards half-time at Anfield, Liverpool 1, Newcastle 0 it remains. If there's a change in the scoreline, of course, we'll let you know. Tottenham 0, Manchester City 1, live on Talksport 2. Manchester United down to 10 men, but they lead Ipswich by 3-2. Brentford 1, Everton 0. Both those games live on the Talksport app tonight. And the Sports Bar from 10:30 with Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy. All the post-match interviews and your reaction as well. 03717 223344, the number to have your say. Zinchenko has steered the ball left for Arsenal to Tierney in an advanced left wing position. Trossard now infield to Ødegaard, gets it back via deflection, corner of the area. Tierney on the overlap, low deflected cross, steered away by Milenkovic. Very calm touch from the defender to nudge it away from danger. Forest counter over the halfway line is Gibbs White, early crossfield ball towards Wood. It'll reach it by the deflection. Good sliding challenge by Saliba. Saliba at the last moment as the ball initially found Wood via the deflection of the Arsenal man, but he made up for it for a crucial sliding intervention. Corner taken by Anderson, gets it back from Danilo, and they're going to have to take it again. I don't think the referee was ready. In fact, no, the flag is up on the far side, I think because they took a short corner. Arsenal free kick and still 0-0.
Yeah, it's a great break. Gibbs White on the far right hand side just looked up, tried to play Chris Wood in first time. It skimmed off Saliba's leg, and then the touch needed to be perfect from Chris Wood, and it wasn't. It was too close to Saliba, allowing him to get back and slide in perfectly. If Chris Wood takes a good touch there, he has a chance to strike towards goal. And at this level, it needs to be perfect.
Wood is starting to look menacing here. And the score is still 0-0 with 18 minutes of normal time to go. Are Arsenal going to drop points in the Premier League title race? It could be crucial with Liverpool still leading Newcastle. Live on Talk right now. News of a goal in the EFL Trophy. Cameron Pope.
17 minutes to go. It's now Wrexham 2, Peterborough United 1. Posh given a penalty when Arthur Okonkwo raced out of his goal to bring down Keane Hayes. Malik Mothersall stepped up. He scored 5 out of 5 this season. This one was saved, and he was there to stick in the rebound. Wrexham 2, Peterborough 1.
That's the semi-final in that competition. And on the right-hand side for Arsenal, Waneri skips away from Williams towards the dead ball line, and then Williams sticks out a leg. Times the challenge perfectly. The former Liverpool man to win it back for Nottingham Forest. His clearance only as far as Declan Rice, who chests it down and darts forward towards the edge of the area, then checks his run, goes back out wide to Timber. One goal will be enough to win the game for either team, you would think here. Arsenal have possession with Rice, flick over the top, inside right, into the area. Too much on it from Ødegaard. No touch from the Forest player. Murillo and Anderson had sandwiched Ødegaard there. And it is a goal kick to Nottingham Forest, and their goalkeeper Sells will take his time.
But because they don't give you any room whatsoever, Nottingham Forest, it forces the opposition into trying to create with a fancy flick or some interplay on the edge of the area. That time it was Declan Rice that looked to poke it over the top towards Ødegaard, and they just shield it away.
Well, Nottingham Forest have been on the back foot for so much of this game. Maybe supporters, as time ticks towards the 75-minute mark, wondering whether there really might be something in this for them. Forest, who began the night only 6 points behind Arsenal, of course, and well adrift of Liverpool at the top, but Champions League football, if it does happen at this ground next season, would be absolutely remarkable.
Oh, it would, especially with that coefficiency as well, possibly giving 5 places in the Champions League this season in the Premier League.
Good work by Danilo to scamper to the dead ball line. He's pulled it back, but Saliba in the way, and he rifles the ball high up to the halfway line. Header away by Milenkovic. Arsenal lose control of possession. Danilo wins it back. Gibbs-White steers it square behind Hudson-Odoi. He'll have to race to the right and retrieve it. Fortunately, of course, he's got great pace, and now he sets up Aina on the underlap. Aina dinks in the cross, headed away by Saliba before it could reach Chris Wood, and then free kick to Forest. Right on the corner of the penalty area. Clumsy foul by Marino all over Yates, and this maybe is within shooting range. 15 minutes to go on Talksport. Nottingham Forest 0, Arsenal 0.
I mean, he's a brave boy, isn't he? Ryan Yates, he knew he was going to get clattered in the face there, but put his head in to win the header and the free kick. Such a dangerous position. It's just who will fancy this? Will it be Hudson-Odoi? Danilo's now walked away, or will they try and bluff Arsenal and flick it to the back post for someone to head in?
Hudson-Odoi is over it, right footer on the right edge of the penalty area. That would suggest he'll try and whip it in, but who knows? 3 in the Arsenal wall. These are crucial moments in Arsenal's Premier League season here. 0-0. Free kick to Forest at the Trent end. Plenty forward in red. Milenkovic, Murillo, Wood, Anderson, Yates, Gibbs-White, all good in the air. Arsenal with everybody back. Raheem Sterling to come on shortly. Hudson-Odoi's got a short run up for this free kick. Right edge of the penalty area. One arm up into the air. He's floated it in. Headed up into the air by Marino. Not far enough to clear it fully. Rice with a flick header to the edge of the box. Back in by Gibbs-White, and that'll be gathered by David Raya. And as Raya clears, the referee stops the game. Head injury, Ødegaard, and Arsenal set to bring on Raheem Sterling with 14 minutes plus added time to go. And don't forget, once we are done here, we will bring you second half commentary of Liverpool against Newcastle on Talksport. Liverpool, the league leaders, by 13 points ahead of Arsenal at the moment, and lead Newcastle by a goal to 0. Confirmation of the Arsenal change, Sterling for Waneri.
Slightly surprised. I think Waneri's been excellent again. And Raheem Sterling, he is desperate for something to ignite his Arsenal career and win over the Arsenal fans. There's one thing about him is you'll always get maximum effort. His attitude's always superb. Just needs to find that bit of quality and confidence again.
And Liverpool 1, Newcastle 0 is a half-time score at Anfield. Hearts 1, St Mirren 1 in the Scottish Premiership. Equaliser for Hearts as Marino plays the ball back to Rice. He is 10 yards into Nottingham Forest territory. Now square to Gabriel. FA Cup football to come for you this weekend on the Talksport network. Then, of course, the return of the Champions League next week. Europa League and Europa Conference League as well. Arsenal are away at PSV on Tuesday in the round of 16 first leg. Raheem Sterling, right wing position, takes the ball in his stride. Trossard in the middle. Sterling on the outside of Nico Williams. Whips in the cross to the back post. Zinchenko brings it down. Tried to lay it to his left on the volley to Tierney. He has managed to nudge it into the path of Tierney in the end. Tierney from the dead ball line wins a corner of Ola Aina. Nobody seemed to want to shoot there for Arsenal, ambitious though it would have been for Zinchenko to try and swing at that on the volley.
He just wasn't quite ready. That needed to be chested and then volleyed in one movement. Once he chested it down, let it bounce, crowded out. He then tries to play it towards Tierney and it's cut out. It needs a quick reaction there from Zinchenko, just a double move.
12 minutes to go, plus added time. Arsenal in desperate need of a goal here. 0-0 at the City Ground. Declan Rice in front of the travelling fans in that lower tier of the stand. One arm up into the air. And there were 5 players at Arsenal blue at the back post preparing to crowd the 6-yard box. In comes the delivery from Rice, aimed at the far post. Marino climbing, and it's deflected behind again. It's another corner for Arsenal, who want handball. Gabriel races to the referee. No great appeals from the rest of his colleagues, and they're now into double figures on the corner counter, Arsenal.
Well, he's been the threat, hasn't he, Marino? He just hangs back a little later than the others. The others go in and crowd the Nottingham Forest defence. He has a nice run from the back post, gets up so high, and this time, instead of heading it towards Sells' head, he heads it down, hoping that it would go in that near post, and just clips off. I think they're asking for a handball, but it's right next to his body.
I think it may have hit wood. Either way, nothing given, bar another corner for Arsenal. Can they finally prevail from one of the set pieces? Drifted in by Ødegaard, hit it away by Nico Williams at the near post. Excellently defended by Nottingham Forest again, and they win a free kick for a foul on Anderson. All credit to Nottingham Forest, because, yes, from Arsenal's perspective, there may have been some labouring at times in the final third, but Nottingham Forest have made it so difficult for them tonight, Dean, and they've shown exactly why they're competing with the best at the top end of the Premier League.
I mean, Nuno Espirito Santo has put together an incredible defence, but also the attitude of every single player. You know, the wide players, Hudson-Odoi, Anderson, Gibbs-White, work incredibly hard to get back and help that defensive unit, and then Milenkovic and Murillo's understanding as a pair has been brilliant all season.
Dundee United 2, Hibs 1 is the latest score in the Scottish Premiership. 10 minutes to go here at the City Ground of normal time. Nottingham Forest 0, Arsenal 0. Brentford 1, Everton 0 on the app. Manchester United 3, Ipswich 2, also live on the app tonight. Tottenham 0, Manchester City 1 on Talksport 2. And Liverpool lead Newcastle by a goal to 0. Dominic Szoboszlai early on. At the moment, coverage of that game on Talk. And once we're done here, we'll bring you the vast majority of the second half of Anfield here on Talksport. Liverpool lead the way by a distance at the top of the Premier League table. Arsenal will drop more points in the race, so they will have one game in hand. 13 points behind at the moment. Murillo pumps a high free kick forward for Nottingham Forest. Down goes Gabriel at the back post. He was fouled. Milenkovic was climbing all over him there. I can't really believe the appeals from the Serbian. Free kick to Arsenal, who've shown great intent to try and win the game, but again cannot find that one really clear-cut opportunity that maybe they need, Dean Ashton.
No, it's been set plays, hasn't it, that has been their biggest threat from open play. It's Calafiori's effort against the post that he created himself. Other than that, they've not created a lot. Ødegaard and Rice and Trossard in particular, not done enough. Waneri, I thought, played well.
Marino will play the ball back to Raya, and Arsenal building from a defensive position. Gabriel just shy of the edge of the centre circle. Square ball to Saliba, long sleeve shirt on Arsenal, all in blue tonight. Left to right in the second half. Arsenal dominating territory throughout the game, but they can't force the ball into the net. Saliba being tracked by Chris Wood, who's certainly put in a great deal of effort in the game, a lot of it without many touches of the ball, but he's tugged the shirt of Saliba right in front of Mikel Arteta and Nuno Espirito Santo, and it's a free kick to Arsenal. Taiwo Awoniyi ready to come on. He scored the winner in the meeting here 2 seasons ago, Taiwo Awoniyi, scorer of many important goals in that 22-23 season for Nottingham Forest. Forward for Arsenal towards Marino. He let it run into the penalty area. Zinchenko back to Ødegaard. Cleared off the line. Ødegaard again. Saved by Sells. That is Nottingham Forest in a nutshell. Heroics from Murillo on the goal line. And then Sells saves the follow-up. The flag is up anyway. But they were not to know. Absolutely heroic from defender and goalkeeper alike.
What attitude these players have, these Nottingham Forest players, to defend their goal. I mean, it's a lovely ball in towards Marino. He flicks it around the corner to Zinchenko, who, for the life of me, I don't know why he doesn't go for goal himself. He pulls it back to Ødegaard, which gives the Nottingham Forest defenders a chance to get back. Murillo with the save on the line. And then The save from Sells from Odegaard the second time around was outstanding, but Zinchenko was slightly offside right from the start.
Right, let's go to the G-Tech on Talksport. Goal there, which way in Abrahams?
Goal for Everton. It's Brentford 1, Everton 1. Mikalenko's cross from the left-hand side, and at the far post, powering home 6 yards out, James O'Brien to level for the Toffees. Brentford 1, Everton 1.
St Johnstone 1, Ross County 0. Hearts 2, St Mirren 1. And goalless it remains here at the City Ground, with very little time remaining in the game. 6 minutes plus added time. Nottingham Forest now with Williams poking it square into the path of Yates, 30 yards out. Steers it wide right. Hudson-Odoi running at Tierney. Onto the left foot. He shoots. It's over the top. It's a wasted opportunity. And judging by his reaction, he knows it.
He just lost his balance as he was about to shoot. The first bit was brilliant. Just rolling his studs over the ball onto his left foot, looking to curl it. He then just lost his balance and leant back just as he was trying to put the pace on the ball, and up and over it went.
Standing ovation for Wood. On comes Awonyi, his replacement. The Arsenal changes, a double change. White and Partey. Odegaard coming off now. Denied twice in quick succession by Murillo and Sells a few moments ago, but of course it wouldn't have counted anyway. Not that Forest were to know that. White for Timber is the other change, so near enough like for like for Arsenal. 0-0, and the chant from the Forest fans, I think, was after he made that block, "You'll never beat Murillo." One of the best central defenders in the Premier League. 10 clean sheets they've kept in the top flight this season, Nottingham Forest. Heading for number 11, and they'd be, on the balance of the play, the way the game has gone, delighted with a point, surely. Chipped over the top by Zinchenko, high up the inside left channel, into the final 5 minutes. Aina gets there in front of Kieran Tierney. You're listening to Talksport. Tierney's won it back. Marino holds it up, edge of the box, back to Thomas Partey, onto the right foot, edge of the D, low shot, drags it wide. He seemed to have head down looking at the ball there, Partey. Couldn't get it out of his feet, having just come on. And it's a goal kick to Forest, as Arsenal seem set to drop more points in the Premier League.
Yeah, it was as if the ball was losing air. It was going flat as he was trying to control it. It just wouldn't go anywhere. He was desperate to take the touch out of his feet, and every touch he had, 3 of them, all just kept the ball right underneath him, and then he tried to dig it out and drags it horribly wide of the left-hand post.
We'll be underway at Anfield for the second half shortly. Liverpool 1, Newcastle 0, and as soon as we're done here, we'll bring you a commentary of that game on Talksport. The coverage at the moment is over on Talk, so do download our app if you haven't done already. And the sports bar from 10:30 after all the football's complete. Nottingham Forest 0, Arsenal 0 into the last 3.5 minutes plus normal time. And Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car, whatever the mission, home or away. Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day. Murillo with a free kick from just inside the Arsenal half. He steered it wide right. Hudson-Odoi running at Tierney again, going on his outside, floating in the cross. Header up into the air by Gabriel. It was too floated, that delivery. Much easier to defend than attack. And Arsenal trying to counter with Trossard finding Partey, shoved aside by Awonyi tracking back. Now Anderson scoops the ball to the far side, the right. Hudson-Odoi back to Gibbs-White. Gibbs-White corner of the area. Hudson-Odoi stretching on the overlap. He's pulled it back for Yates, who's left it. Williams brings it down and shoots, and it's deflected away by White. Deafening noise. Corner at the Trent end. Imagine if they score, how loud it'll be.
Just kept recycling the ball, didn't they? Nottingham Forest, when it came back out wide, get the ball in the area. They're not afraid to get bodies into the box. Arsenal have struggled, not Nottingham Forest. 4 of them in there for that shot that eventually came from Williams and the block from White.
Elliot Anderson standing over it. Arsenal with everybody back. Now they've got to defend a set piece. Anderson will have to take it again. David Raya's gathered high above his head, but the referee had blown his whistle before the corner was taken. All sorts of jostling going on in a very crowded 6-yard box. Everybody forward for Forest, just about. Everybody back for Arsenal. 0-0. Kilmarnock 2, Rangers 2. Rangers have come from 2-0 down tonight. Just over 90 seconds plus added time to go. an absorbing contest, but it remains goalless. Delivered in by Anderson again to the back post. Goalkeeper stays on his line, and it was overhit goal kick.
Oh, it's just not what you need, is it? When you're getting towards the end of the game and you get a set play, the delivery's got to be right. Such a waste from Anderson.
Well, Arsenal going to rue more drop points in the title race. It really does look as though it's Liverpool's to lose. A 13-point lead for Liverpool as it stands, and of course Liverpool's second half still to come. They lead Newcastle 1-0 at the break. Arsenal, for all that they've tried, and there's been a great deal of effort and application, haven't got themselves the goal they need just yet. They've got the ball with Trossard back to goal. Lays it off to Zinchenko into the final minute of normal time. Trossard in a central area. Chips the ball left to right. Raheem Sterling brings it down. Declan Rice is in the middle. Sterling delivers into the 6-yard box. Header away by Murillo. Partey's header square. And Trossard back to halfway with a slightly heavy touch. Saliba had to retreat. I'm hearing there'll be 4 minutes added time. Nottingham Forest on the counter. Raya retreating back to his goal. Anderson down the left-hand side. Awoniyi's in the middle. Hudson-Odoi at the back post. Anderson whips in the cross. Hudson-Odoi stretching. Can't get there. Overhit by Anderson. Goal kick. What a fantastic finish this is going to be. Premier League football at full pelt. Live on Talksport.
He did really well just to hold the ball long enough, Anderson, to get that support of players in the penalty area, and then just curled it in, but was curling it away from Hudson-Odoi. He tried his best, but couldn't quite stretch to reach it as it skimmed off the surface.
Confirmation of the added time, 4 added minutes. Arsenal need a goal realistically, don't they? As Trossard dribbles down the middle, he's past 2 or 3 in red. He's set up Marino, right corner of the box. Now Sterling takes over. 4 in the middle to Ahmad. Back it goes to Ben White. Poor delivery steered away by the first man, Murillo. It barely left the ground, that cross from White. And now Awoniyi's held it up nicely for Forest. There's a foul on the onrushing Yates by Marino. Free kick. Another goal in the EFL Trophy semi-final. Which way? Cameron Pope.
Wrexham 2, Peterborough 2. We've just passed into added time, and it looked like Wrexham had booked their ticket to Wembley. Step forward, Bradley Ahovian on off the bench. The young posh man, he bundled his way into the penalty area. 3 defenders couldn't stop him. He didn't give up on the bouncing ball, and then he prodded it past Arthur Okonkwo. We've got 2 minutes of added time to go, and then it's penalties. Wrexham 2, Peterborough 2.
You can hear Adrian Durham cheering from Anfield. Free kick to Nottingham Forest, just shy of the halfway line. Punted long by Murillo. High towards Yates. Right edge of the area. He's won the header. Nudged it square towards Awoniyi. Swept away by Rice. Over a minute of the 4 added have been played. 0-0. Arsenal lose the ball, then win it back through Tierney. Zinchenko. Midway inside his own half the field. Square to Declan Rice. Arsenal players, you can see in the body language, just desperate to get the ball forward and score a winning goal. But Rice was running nowhere. He nearly ran into the technical area. He gave it straight to Williams, and Nottingham Forest so resolute and so strong is their determination to keep another Premier League clean sheet. Sterling's poked it towards Trossard, and now Sterling's got it back down the right-hand side, 0-0. Sterling looks up, only Zinchenko in the middle. Is he bundled over by Williams? No, free kick's gone the other way. The referee says Sterling went down, then it hit his arm. Sterling was looking for it. Free kick to Nottingham Forest. Arsenal just don't seem to have enough, once again, in those advanced attacking areas to get the points they need.
I mean, it's a foul. I think Williams pushes Sterling in the back. It's really unfortunate, Raheem Sterling, that's been given the other way. He just hesitated and waited for Williams. There was a definite arm in his back. Goes down reasonably easily, but still that arm is there in his back.
How frustrated is he going to be, Mikel Arteta, Dean, if it does stay like this? 90 seconds to go.
Yeah, of course, but he'll also recognise what a good defensive display it's been. I mean, they've totally dominated the game, really, Arsenal.
Back underway at Anfield, live on Talk at the moment. Liverpool 1, Newcastle 0 is the latest score. As Murillo jumps to head clear into the centre circle. It's dropped down for Trossard. We're into the last minute of added time. Williams slides in to clear it away for Forest. Saliba there to win it back in front of Awonyi. Arsenal throw right in front of Mikel Arteta. Quickly taken by Wright, headed away by Williams. It's come back down though to Trossard. Was he fouled? Yes, he was by Anderson. Free kick to Arsenal. Midway inside the Forest half. It'll likely be the final action of the whole game.
Delivery has to be right here for Arsenal. Declan Rice just spotting the ball down. They'll set this up, Arsenal. Set piece coach is there, wagging his finger in the direction of certain players to get themselves into position.
Well, this will be the last opportunity for Arsenal. David Raya was thinking about going forward. He's remained on the halfway line. Almost everybody else on the edge of the Nottingham Forest penalty area. Free kick is a long way from goal. We've had the 4 minutes of added time. It's Nottingham Forest 0, Arsenal 0. Arsenal poised to drop points again. Declan Rice, high diagonal with the free kick, headed away by Milenkovic, and Forest get their draw and do huge damage to Arsenal's title hopes in the protest. Arsenal players look resigned to their fate. 13 points behind Liverpool in the race for the Premier League title as it stands. And Nottingham Forest have really hurt their Premier League chances here with an excellent defensive display that has ended with a point gained for the home side, 2 dropped for Arsenal, and in all likelihood it looks as though Mikel Arteta will have to wave goodbye to the chance of lifting the Premier League for another season. Arsenal ultimately over 94 minutes, created plenty but couldn't find the back of the net. Calafiori hit the post in the first half. Marina had a close range header saved by Sells in the second. Forest at times performed heroics defensively, though they rarely threatened going forward. It's a point that will help them in their chase for Champions League football. But for Arsenal, the gap now to Liverpool, surely too big a gap for them to try and bridge. It has finished at the City Ground. Nottingham Forest 0, Arsenal 0.
Wow, let's just reiterate what's happening at the top of the Premier League table then. As things stand, with the scoreline here at Anfield, Liverpool 1, Newcastle 0. Liverpool, if it stays like that, will be on 67. Arsenal on 54. Arsenal will have a game in hand. They'll also have to come here to Anfield as well. But Dean Ashton, that's it. It's all over, isn't it? Arsenal dropping points again?
Yes, because they have to be faultless, don't they, to put any pressure on Liverpool, and they haven't been able to. And once again, they've lacked that cutting edge at the top end of the pitch. They've dominated most of the game. They've given Nottingham Forest very little, but that's not going to win you a Premier League title. And at the moment, you know, they can only look at themselves.
They can. I was looking at the substitutions that Arteta was making, and I was thinking, well, that's not going to do anything, that's not going to do anything, that's not going to do anything either. I'm talking about to try and change the game later on, not necessarily half-time. Tierney for Calafiori, which you could understand from the yellow card. So Zinchenko for Jorginho, Partey for Odegaard, Sterling for Nwaneri. These substitutions didn't make Arsenal better, but then I looked at the rest of his bench, and this is where a big problem is. With the injuries they've got, the squad is not deep enough, the squad is not good enough for him to change games like this.
No, I mean, look, he's been at the club, you know, a long time now for a modern manager, and they've got players in, and they're still short. That's for sure when you look at the bench tonight, and the changes he made, he's bringing on defenders when he needs a goal. And to take off Odegaard and Nwaneri, I don't understand that. When you need a goal, you keep those players on, and you just try and add some freshness elsewhere. So for me, that was, you know, it's on the manager. You don't take off your attacking players when you need a goal.
The subs seemed very strange. Maybe I'm clutching a bit in trying to defend Mikel Arteta. I mean, how are Arsenal fans expected to be feeling right now, having seen their side lose to West Ham, fail to score, and then go to Forest, who've had a really good season, but have been shipping goals lately, and again they failed to score, and this narrative around no striker will continue.
It will, and that's their frustration, is that, you know, they can see with their own eyes exactly what Arsenal are missing, and certainly with the injuries that's heightened. Saka's obviously a massive miss if you if you took the best player out of any other side, if you took Salah out of Liverpool, they're a very, very different team. He's that good. But ultimately, they've lacked that player that can get you a goal in the tightest of games. And, you know, with the injuries that they've got, Marino definitely isn't the answer.
We saw the usual stuff at corners. I think we're fast approaching, if not past, 30 corners now for Arsenal without a goal. And listen, I think I've seen my team take about 1,000 corners without scoring a goal, but this is meant to be a set-piece coach who specialises in attacking corners, in scoring goals from corners, and it isn't happening. So that's another area where it's all dried up for Arsenal. Is that part of the problem, over-reliance on that, and now it's not happening?
Yeah, I think it is. I think because it was such a strength of theirs earlier on in the season, and teams will wise up so quickly. You know, all the data and the video analysis that teams have now, they'll look exactly how to nullify that. Saying that was their biggest threat tonight. It was where it looked like they were going to score from, because it wasn't really open play that you felt that they were going to create.
Forest 0, Arsenal 0 is a full-time score. Rangers have taken the lead at Kilmarnock. Cyril Dessers again. Kilmarnock 2, Rangers 3. They were 2-1 down. It is full-time at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Alfie Reynolds.
Yeah, full-time. Tottenham 0, Man City 1. Erling Haaland's goal, which was scored after 12 minutes, ends up being the winner. But there was drama in stoppage time at the end of the game here. Haaland thought he'd scored a second to wrap it up. That was then disallowed after a lengthy VAR check for what to me looked like a marginal handball. Spurs then immediately went up the other end, crafted a brilliant chance for Sarr, who headed the ball over. When the ref then did blow the full-time whistle, the Tottenham players not happy that the referee hadn't added on more time because of the VAR check. What it means though is Manchester City are the winners. Haaland's goal in the first half was a close range finish. Doku the provider on the left. It was an opening half where Man City dominated it, really. Both Haaland and Savinho should have scored a second. It was a very different story in the second half. Tottenham pushing for an equaliser. Odegaard and Son, as well as Sarr at the end, with great chances. Odegaard sliding in at the back post, couldn't direct his effort on target, and Son's low shot produced a brilliant save by Ederson. It is a victory for Man City. It finishes in North London. Tottenham 0, Man City 1.
Man City up to 4th in the table. Spurs 13th. I think we finished at the G-Tech as well. Ian Abrahams.
Brentford 1, Everton 1. Brentford led at the break thanks to Johan Visser scoring from close range. A Schade throw, unmarked, and Buemo against the bar with a header, and Visser equally unmarked headed home. Beto had wasted 2 good opportunities. Brentford had a second half goal for Visser disallowed before the equaliser came. 13 minutes from time. Mikalenko's ball in from the left hand side for Jake O'Brien to power home a header from 6 yards out. Still time for Beto to miss another opportunity to win it for Everton. In the end, no points shared here. Brentford 1, Everton 1.
That Virtue Trophy semi-final has gone to penalties. 2-2. Paul Mullin has missed a penalty for Wrexham. He's normally reliable. We're approaching full-time at Old Trafford. What a game. John Dunn.
The full-time whistle has just gone. Manchester United 3, Ipswich 2. A rare United win, an even rarer home win. Just their second Premier League home win in the last 7 games. And they had to come from behind, and they had to do it with 10 men. Ipswich led after 4 minutes. A comical mix-up between Dogu and Onana, leaving Jadon Philogene with an open goal to score his first ever Premier League goal. But Manchester United hit back. 22 minutes when Sam Morsey headed home a Bruno Fernandes free kick into his own net. 4 minutes later, the home side in front of Bruno Fernandes' corner. Alex Palmer making 2 saves in the Ipswich goal before Matthias de Ligt could slide in and slam the ball into the roof of the net. Just before the break, Patrick Dogu was sent off. A wild challenge on Amari Hutchinson, but it needed VAR to confirm the red card. And into injury time, Jadon Philogene got a second, a curling cross that Liam Delap stretched but didn't get the touch, but it evaded Onana to make it all square at the break. 2 minutes into the second half, a powerful Harry Maguire header steered home beyond Palmer. Ipswich just didn't take advantage of the extra man. They're now 5 from safety and 7 Premier League games without a win. A feel-good factor at Old Trafford for a change. Manchester United 3, Ipswich 2.
Wow, what a game that turned out to be. Ipswich taking an early lead but remain, of course, in the bottom 3 on 17.5 points off Wolverhampton Wanderers, who are in 17th place. Manchester United up to 14th. They've gone above Everton, who were held at Brentford, as we heard earlier. Malik Mothersill has missed a penalty for Peterborough. He missed in normal game time. He has missed in the shootout as well, so they've both missed one apiece in that shootout. As far as our commentary is concerned, it finished Forest 0, Arsenal 0. Time now for us to pick our man of the match with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
Man of the match on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever the mission, home or away, Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day.
Well, former England striker Dean Ashton was on co-commentary with us. By the way, Forest's last Premier League goalless draw at home against West Ham, September 1998. So you've been really unlucky to see no goals tonight, Dean Ashton. But who gets your vote for man of the match?
That's incredible.
I know.
I'm going to give it to Murillo. 22 years old. What a centre-back he's turning into. A goal-saving clearance towards the end. He wasn't to know that it was offside. Was brilliant from the set plays alongside Milenkovic. And actually, on the ball, he was taking set plays as well. A terrific player.
Yeah, and overall, I mean, we talked about Arsenal at full time. Forest get a point. It's a very good point, and bearing in mind they've been conceding goals, the clean sheet will be something that Nuno will love as well. But Forest can be very proud of their season, very proud of their performance tonight, I think.
Yeah, I think there was a little bit of frustration from the fans. I think just because they were whacking it forwards so often during the game until the end when they created a few moments. But defensively, they needed to get back to that. You're right, they'd shipped a few goals in recent games, but that was much more like the performances from earlier in the season to get them where they are right now and taking a point at home against Arsenal, who are ahead of them. Nothing wrong with that when they're trying to just keep themselves ticking over for that Champions League spot.
Dean, thanks very much. That's Murillo, our man of the match from today's game with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.